Okay, here we are. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me here, Jason Cameron, fresh off a nice weekend. Question for you. Have you seen a morning yet in the past week and a half?
No, I've seen them when I've opened my eye and I'm like, yeah, not yet. And then I just close it back up. It's been nice. It's been nice.
Nice. Yeah,
But yeah, it's been good. It's been nice.
nice. Not started this new job yet, eh? Not
No,
quite.
no, not yet. I'm going to be getting in contact with my buddy tomorrow. It'll probably start sometime this
Okay, cool. Right on. How was your weekend?
weekend. Was quiet. I kind of took it easy. I kind of felt like I was coming down with something. Luckily, it didn't turn into anything, so that was a good thing. But I just kept it cool.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we decided we were going to head down and catch the Lions game. It was super busy downtown. They've got the Canucks were playing that night. The Lions were playing Cirque du Soleil. Super busy right in that general area we headed into. Great to see the Lions finally break their losing streak, get a nice victory over Calgary, and it was dynamic downtown, really fun. We went into the casino right after the game, and there was massive amounts of sports fans in there. It was a really good atmosphere and a lot of fun, and yeah, glad we went downtown. It was dynamic and spectacular that night.
Oh, nice, man. So it's always good going downtown when there's a bunch of events going on and stuff and
Yeah.
things are happening. Now, when you went to the casino, was that where you also watched the UFC or no?
No, this was Friday, so
That's Friday. Friday.
yeah,
Okay.
Friday. So the UFC was Saturday. Yeah,
Saturday.
luckily the Lions and Canucks games didn't conflict with the UFC on Saturday, so
That's good.
got to watch the UFC in its entirety, and yeah, can't wait to break down that card. It'll be fun. I was super anticipating it. Didn't really deliver, unfortunately, but there are a few good fights for us to break down and lots of storylines as always. So that'll be fun.
No, that'll be fun. The one thing I did not agree with, how about this? I'll say this. I'll agree with Dana White on this. The judging was horrible that day.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll get to it, but it was
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the worst I've seen in a long time.
Super bad, yeah. Oh my God. It's so frustrating, having to deal with this week after week and year after year. It's a lot of places it's not getting better, it's getting worse. So, they got to figure this out so it doesn't have these black marks on these events and really start questioning what the hell's going on. So, yeah, we'll break that down in a few minutes, but let's get to a few other topical things in the world of sports. Right now, the baseball playoffs are really taking the attention off of most sporting events. October baseball is super fun. Talked about it a ton over last podcast and heading into October, and it hasn't disappointed. A lot of fantastic games have been going ever since the playoffs started. They're into the National Division Series here, and man, they've been really, really fun games. A lot of amazing ball going on. We're getting underway about 4 innings into, a little more than 3 innings into the second game today, the American League Series between Yankees and Kansas City. The Yankees scored the first run, and then KC has come back and got a tying run. So it's 1-1 heading just in the top of the fourth here. Man, it's been super, super, super fun to watch all these series. I'm going to talk a little bit about the National League matchups. Both games happened yesterday. The Phillies won in dramatic fashion yesterday, scoring the winning run in the bottom of the ninth inning to win 7-6. Nick Castellanos was the hero, driving in Trey Turner with a great single. Turner was on second base and came in to score the winning run. The Mets had clawed back and scored a game-tying 2-run home run by Mark Vientos in the top of the ninth, and the place went crazy. The The fans at Citi Field in New York were going nuts, and it was super amazing to see how many comebacks the Mets have had this year. I think that was their 44th comeback of the year, and man, they were really close, but weren't able to push across that winning run, that leading run. Phillies came back as the game was tied in the ninth inning and won it. The series is tied one game apiece now, and man, is this ever a fun, great series? Tons of really talented players on both sides.
Yeah. So would you say, like, for the first round, they go 7 games, right? These first round, or do they go
No,
five?
these are just best of five, best of five.
Best of five. Now, do you think this game will go to, like, this series will go to a fifth?
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't bet on. I would bet on all of them going to 5 games. These teams are very evenly matched throughout, and yeah, I'd be surprised if all 4 series aren't 5 games classics.
Oh, nice. Well, you know what? At least you're a huge baseball fan, and these are the teams that you're definitely vested in. You got interest in.
Yeah,
Well, you're going to be up for some excitement for the next couple of days, next week here.
yeah, um, yeah. My friend, uh, Corey from Penticton, and our friends Barry from New York, huge Mets fans. So great every time those games are going on, texting a lot back and forth. I've been texting with all my friends in the baseball world, and there's been so many moments where it's like, holy cow, just jumping off the couch. Can you believe you just saw that? And then all of a sudden the Twitter sphere starts blasting and lots of texts going back and forth. It's been pretty incredible. I was amazed at the game 1 win by the Mets. Zach Wheeler, the Phillies ace, was just unhittable. He was just absolutely unreal. And they pitched him as late as they could. He had thrown 111 pitches, and they finally said, "Okay, man, we don't want to kill you. We'll bring in the bullpen. They'll be able to handle it." The Mets had done nothing against Wheeler. All of a sudden, boom, the Phillies bullpen comes in. They couldn't get anybody out. It was crazy. Pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. The Mets ended up scoring 5 runs and taking that game 1, and it was spectacular. The Mets have been doing that so much this year that Corey said yesterday when the Mets got some early runs, he goes, "This isn't the Mets baseball. What the hell? I'm a little scared. They're actually scoring early. This isn't good." And they did score early and lost. So it wasn't the script that you normally see the Mets this year. Usually they're holding on until they can get rid of the starting pitcher, get into the bullpen, and then hit the ball and score the runs that they need to win.
Yeah, well, you know what? That if they found a formula to win, then if that works for them, then that works for them.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of nice to, like, just get a lead and just, keep it and then win the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, so their next game, they're tied 1 game apiece. Their next game goes tomorrow. 2:08 Pacific time is the first pitch, and the same time Wednesday for game 4. If it goes 5 Friday, that's a 1:08 first pitch there. Okay, and the other National League series that I want to talk about has the Dodgers and the Padres. The Padres got a massive win yesterday. They beat the Dodgers 10-2 with 6 home runs. Fernando Tatis hit 2 home runs, and there was a pretty controversial play. Their left fielder earlier in the game raced back. Mookie Betts had hit a far shot, and it looked like it was going to be a home run. And the left fielder reached into the stands, and all of a sudden he just pulled his glove out, and he just stood there, and all the fans were looking around like, "Where'd the ball go?" And he didn't do anything for about 10 seconds, and everybody's like, "What happened? What happened?" And Mookie had reached all the way around to third base, thinking it was a home run, and then he just holds up his glove, pulls the ball out, and throws it away, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And nobody knew where the ball was for about 10 seconds. It was crazy. And Mookie got pretty mad because he had circled so far around thinking it was a home run. And all of a sudden, there's like a lot of chirping between the teams. And then there was chirping between the fans and the outfielder. And then they started throwing stuff at the guy. And there was about a 15, 20-minute delay. It got really heated. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was pretty crazy. It got out of control. And I was wondering, I thought they might postpone the game for a while. The pitcher stood there for a while. He had to warm up a couple times because his arm was getting cold, and it was nutty, man. It really, really crazy.
Okay, so who was the outfielder that caught the ball?
I don't know why his name escaped me right now, but give me 2 seconds and I'll pull it
Okay,
up.
so would you say then that said man was grandstanding
Yeah,
since he caught the
yeah,
ball and then didn't reveal that he caught the
yeah,
ball?
yeah.
I thought there was a rule in baseball that you actually had to show that you caught the ball within a certain amount of time. Is there no such thing?
No
So he's
rule,
allowed to
no,
do that.
no rule.
Oh,
His name is Jurickson Profar. Yeah,
okay.
he's their left fielder, and he bats third for them. Uh,
Okay.
but
So
yeah,
he's
there's
allowed
no
to do
rule
that.
of that at all. And
Mhm.
even when they went into the
Uh-huh.
between innings commentary, the one guy said, "Man, that was a baller move. I wish I always could pull that kind of move off." He said, I thought about that my entire baseball career, and I hoped I could pull that off, and never did." And this guy, wow, that was awesome. So some people liked it, but others hated it. It was definitely grandstanding. He was just standing
Of
there for
course.
the longest time, and nobody knew except him. I think he was the only person on the planet that knew he had caught the ball.
Wow, man. Because like that's taking grandstanding to another level. Because you know how guys, well, if they hit a home run, they'll flip the bat or whatever, they'll do
Yeah,
something to the pitcher. But
sure.
this guy, instead of doing all that, he does the reverse where he just goes, "I'll just sit on it. I just sit on it. Mookie's almost at home. Wait, Mookie, no, no, no. Come on back, buddy. Come on back."
Yeah. Yeah, it was massive, man. It was unreal. Yeah, it's a memory that I won't forget. And I'm sure many people that watched it live was just, holy cow, like, what? Oh, you thought after he didn't show any emotion at
Yeah.
all for the first 1 or 2 seconds, you thought, no way. And there was tons of hands in his
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
hitting his glove, trying to grab the ball themselves. There was a whole bunch of people all right there. And you thought, oh no, he didn't get it. And it was pretty far deep into the
Yeah.
stands there. And so I was like, holy cow, it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden he turns around and he has the ball, and everybody was stunned because it took him so freaking long to let you know.
Wow, man. Wow. Okay, so that's cool though. You want to know why? He's now created some real animosity between
Yeah.
these two teams.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it was cordial before, we were civil. No more of that.
No,
No more of that. We're
no.
gonna come
Well,
after you.
these teams, perennially, the Dodgers have been better than the Padres, but about 4 or 5 years ago, the Padres got a new owner, and he just started spending money and actually attracting some level free agents and some really, really, really good guys. He unfortunately passed away last year. I think it was last year or earlier this year, and but his legacy lives on because this is a real rivalry now. These two teams are awesome, stacked lineups, great pitching staffs, amazing, amazing rivalry, and they're very close in proximity. So they play a ton of games against each other, and there has been quite a bit of animosity being built up in the last couple seasons because they do play each other so much.
Great. That's good. That's great. That's
Yeah,
great for baseball, and that's great for fans.
yeah,
That's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's an incredibly good thing.
true.
And the fact that the Padres spanked them the
Yeah.
way that they did, so now the Dodgers have to respond.
Yeah, well, the Dodgers won game one. They won game one 7-5, so it's split at one game apiece after they had the first two games in LA. The games shift to San Diego now, and they'll play tomorrow. Game three, first pitch, 6:08 Pacific time is the first pitch scheduled for tomorrow. Wednesday, game four, same time, and if necessary, Friday back in LA. That will be a 5:08 first pitch if necessary. That first game Immediately, San Diego got the early lead. Dodgers had to come back, and San Diego retook the lead, and then the Dodgers ended up pulling out the victory there. So it was yeah, a very, very highly contentious game and series, and yeah, this will I'm sure attract a lot more fans because of the animosity and the anger that's brewing and building with the two clubs. So can't wait for tomorrow. It's going to be fun. There was two games today in the American League. The early game had two lefties that were just unbelievable. This game went into the ninth inning scoreless. Both starters had just shut down both teams. This is between Cleveland and Detroit. It's in Cleveland, and Cleveland won the first game 7-0. So Detroit hadn't scored a run in 17 innings going into the ninth inning. They were able to get at their closer, and their closer had Emmanuel Clase is his name. He had come in, and he was the reliever of the month of September. Just absolutely lights out. Nobody was doing anything to him. And all of a sudden, the Tigers got a hit, got a second hit, and then a bam, bashed a 3-run home run, gave Detroit the 3-0 win. Their closer came in and his name is Bo Brisky, was able to close the door and give Detroit the win to tie up the series. It was kind of worrisome for Detroit fans and anybody that was following the series. It was like, oh my God, they're going to get shut out 2 games in a row, but they were able to tag the closer and get the win and tie the series. It's going to be great seeing how this series plays out too.
That's awesome. That's awesome that the Detroit Bats came alive right when they needed to, right when they absolutely needed them to, against one of the hottest pitchers in baseball right now. So good on Detroit for getting it done.
Yeah, they were actually down to their last out, down to their last strike at times over those last 3 hitters, and amazing that they were able to pull it out and get it done. Game 3 goes Wednesday. It's a 12:08, really early first pitch, and then 3:08 Thursday will be game 4. If game 5 is necessary, that goes Saturday, and it's a 1:38 first pitch. And then the last series, I touched on it at the beginning of the podcast, but I'll give you an update. Kansas City now is in front. The top of the fourth, 3-1. They're leading. They've got 3 runs. Oh, no, they just got their 4th run. So they're up 4-1 in the top of the 4th over the Yankees. Let's see if I can see if anybody's hit some home runs. Yeah, Salvador Perez, their catcher, long time. Kansas City Royal got a home run for them. RBIs from their bottom 3 too. Tommy Pham, their left fielder, and Garrett Hampson, their right fielder, have all driven in runs. And yeah, 4-1 for Kansas City. As I mentioned earlier, Yankees were able to get the win on the opening game. There was 5 lead changes in that game, and the Yankees ended up pulling it out 6-5. Even though Aaron Judge went 0 for 4 in his game, and he has really struggled in the postseason. Really can't seem to get on track, and it seems to be affecting him mentally as well as physically. And I don't know. The Yankees are worried. I think the Royals are probably worried too, because he's probably due. But it's pretty wild to see him after such an amazing season to struggle this badly. Luckily, the Yankees were able to get the opening win, but tonight, so far, they're down 4-1.
Sometimes I think you get in your own head about like the fact that you're not hitting the ball. And then sometimes you just need to relax. Just relax in the plate and just swing away and swing easy. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he's putting too much pressure on himself because he has to remember, yes, you're a big part of that team, but you got teammates. They'll pick you up when they need to. Yeah. Right? You just have to just concentrate on just doing what you need to do and forget about all the other nonsense and everything else and just do what you did in the regular season. Yeah. It's not, well, it's a little bit different. Obviously, there's more stress and there's higher stakes, but it's still the same thing. It's still baseball.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think you'll figure it out, and we'll see some pretty epic home runs and at bats from him going forward. I do want to mention Shohei Ohtani. He had the record, active record for the most games played in MLB before having a playoff appearance going into this postseason. His first at bat in the postseason this year, home run, blast, a 3-run shot to help the Dodgers get that win, and it was pretty wild to see him, not be able to not have the moment sort of, cause him issues and bothers, and boom, he just crushed the first first pitch he saw. Well, first at bat he saw, was able to get a 3-run home run, and proved that the moment's not too big for him.
No, you know what? I have no doubts about Ohtani. I have no doubts at all about Ohtani. And maybe that could be another thing about Judge's performance where he's worrying about extraneous stuff about him. It's like, you shouldn't worry about that guy. Just concentrate on yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't worry about him.
That's true. Yeah, totally. So, I'll probably give an update on this game a little later on. But that's the MLB story. I do want to make a few mentions. MLS, it's winding down. They're into the last couple weeks of the regular season. Just 2 games left for some teams, only 1 game left for a few of them. Vancouver lost a really pivotal game, 1-0 to Minnesota on Saturday. And that was a really, really bad loss because Minnesota now passed them in the standings. Minnesota sits 7th in the Western Conference. Vancouver dropped to 8th. And now it really looks like Vancouver and Portland will have to play a play-in game. They do play in between 9 and 8 to get the top 8 teams. So Vancouver's in the driver's seat to host that play-in game, but it's too bad. They could have pushed Minnesota down, could have kind of solidified that playoff spot for sure, and made sure that they were getting into the postseason. But now it's going to be an extra game they'll have to play if they want to be in the playoffs.
Well, that just kind of goes for the season, though, right? How they performed so far. There's the fact that they couldn't get it done, and the fact that they're going to have to do a play-in, which I have my doubts about as well. Yeah. So they just haven't had the greatest of seasons, obviously, and well, at least they're in the driver's seats for the play-in. So I guess that's the best they can do, and that's where they're at right now.
That's where they're at. Yeah. Vancouver's 2 games left. They host. No, they actually go to LA, play the LAFC on Sunday. That's a 4:00 kickoff. And then Real Salt Lake is their last game. And that's on Saturday, the 19th, 6:00 here in Vancouver, for their last game of the year. I think they can still catch Minnesota, but it's not looking good. And it looks like they'll be having that Portland play-in game here. But that gets them the 8th position. And then they have to play the mighty LA Galaxy, who's dominating the Western Conference as #1 seed in the West. And it'll be kind of a bam, one and done, see you later. So not getting that 7th position is really, really too bad and tough on Vancouver. It's not going to go very well. But MLS made an announcement today that they set a new attendance record this year. They were able to surpass 11 million fans for the first time in MLS history. They've been increasing the fan support the last few seasons and have surpassed 10 million the last 2 years, but this is the first time surpassing 11 million, and quite the standard that they've set. I do have a interesting little graphic here that said there was 2 games that they had were over, or 3 games they had were over 70,000 this year, and 2 of them involved Lionel Messi. The game with Messi against Sporting KC on April 13th had 72,610 fans. That's the fourth largest crowd in MLS history. And then there was a game on July 4th at the Rose Bowl against the LA Galaxy, and that was 70,076 fans there. And then they also had a record for Gillette Stadium, where the New England Patriots play. This was the New England Revolution, Miami's 4-1 win, 65,612 fans. So the Messi effect is real, and they are, yeah, it's awesome to see that they surpassed 11 million for the attendance. All teams play 34 games, so that's pretty incredible to see that number reached.
Oh, that's great. It's fantastic to see. It's fantastic to see that they're continuing their growth and continuing to take in more fans for the MLS.
Yeah. Okay. PGA tournament was the Sanderson Farmers Tournament. Kevin Yu won in a playoff over Bo Hostler. Mackenzie Hughes ended up in 8th place and cashed a nice big check there. That is great. This is called the start of the 2025 season, so they're already into it, even 2-3 months before the end of the year. It's kind of wild. They finished the season in September, and then they kick back into this fall season that's actually part of the 2025 year.
Sorry, you cut out there for a second. What was that again?
It's pretty wild that the PGA has their end of their season in September and then starts their 2025 season in October already.
Oh yeah, that is wild, and that's quick. It seems like super soon, like too soon. Right?
Way too soon. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but other guys, probably guys that don't need the rest or want the rest, give them chances to cash checks before the big guys get it back at it, probably in January.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I want to make mention that the NHL officially kicks off their regular season tomorrow. Opening day has ESPN showcasing a triple header. Great to see ESPN in there as their major broadcast partner. The very first game of the NHL season that's on North American soil happens in Seattle tomorrow afternoon as the Kraken host the St. Louis Blues. 1:30 first puck drop. That's pretty cool that it's just a couple hours south from here that the NHL season actually kicks off here.
No, that's awesome. That's fantastic. I love the fact that finally Seattle has an NHL team, so that we now have a choice of not only just seeing the Canucks here, but we can also go down south to Seattle and watch a game down there as well.
It's so great. Yeah. The season regular season actually kicked in on the weekend in Czechia. The New Jersey Devils and Buffalo Sabres played a back-to-back doubleheader down in Czechia. New Jersey was able to win 4-1 and 3-1 in the games and start off the season well. Very cool to see shots of Prague and Czechia, and pretty neat that they're starting the season overseas like that. Lots of teams were still playing preseason games all the way through, but they had those regular season games all the way over there.
That's cool. That's great. I guess they want more of a global reach, and that's the way you got to do it. You got to do it like that.
Okay, and then there's also a game tomorrow in Utah for the first time in NHL history. A puck will be dropped in Utah, and pretty wild to see them. They, for some dumb reason, didn't choose a name, so they're going to just be called the Utah Hockey Club for this season, and they're going to go with a name and a mascot and all that kind of stuff. Kicking in for their second season. Kind of weird. I don't really understand why it has to take them a whole season, but that's what they've decided on.
So they wanted to follow the example of the Washington football team. That's what they wanted to follow. They just said, you know what they did? Great idea. We're just going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same. What do you, like, how much more time do you need to figure out a team name?
Yeah.
How much more time? I guess you need a full year.
It seems
Didn't know.
seems really bad. It seems
That's
dumb.
pretty bad.
I don't like it at all. All the lots of the Canadian teams are playing tomorrow. I think 6 Canadian teams hit the ice. No, not tomorrow. Wednesday. Sorry. Opening nights for them. Montreal hosts Toronto. That's the early game for us to watch. That's 100-year-old rivalry, and pretty awesome to always watch them play. Both teams have won the most Stanley Cups in NHL history as well. So tons of rivalry, amazing history. This is very smart of the NHL to have that as opening night for Sportsnet. And Canucks host the Flames at 7 o'clock. Same time, the Oilers host the Jets. So all 6 Canadian teams are underway tomorrow. Canucks have quite a different roster than finished the playoffs last year in May. They have basically 7 new roster players on the that look like they're starting tomorrow. The lines look pretty interesting. The defensive pairs, they've been able to get 2 new guys in there for the bottom 2 for defense. Forbort and Desharnais, Hughes and Roenick, Myers and Soucy are the top 4 defensive players. Elliot Friedman, probably the biggest insider in the NHL, has predicted that Quinn Hughes will win MVP of the league this year, and the Canucks are going to go all the way to the Stanley Cup. So pretty wild for him to say. He's one of the most plugged in guys in the NHL, and amazing that he's predicting MVP, not just top defenseman for the Canucks, but MVP of the entire league.
Ah, man, I hope he just didn't jinx us. I hope that's not what just happened right there.
Yeah.
I think Quinn Hughes is awesome, but for him to get MVP, he's gonna have to beat out like a lot of, I don't know, really, really good hockey players
Oh
for
yeah.
him to get MVP. So
Yeah.
if he does it, amazing. Hey
Yeah.
man, I'm all for it, but I don't know. That's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's a tough ask, that's for sure. But we'll see. Yeah, I expect him to have a great year, and he played amazing last year. These are the lines that I see that were practicing together on the weekend. So Louis DeBrusque, along with Elias Pettersson and Daniel Sprong. So 2 new guys on the roster for top line. Second line has Dalton Heinen, JT Miller, and Brock Besser. Heinen is a BC product, but he's new to the Canucks. We've got Hoglander, Ratu, and Sherwood on the third line. Neil Zaman, Teddy Bluger, and Arshdeep Bains right now on the fourth line. They have some extra forwards, Pew Suter and Darius Garland. Both of them have some injuries that they're working out. So maybe if they're healthy, they bump some of those guys down or out of the lineup if they can suit up starting tomorrow. And then speaking of injuries, Dakota Joshua will start the season on the injured list. He's still recovering from his bout with testicular cancer. And Thatcher Demko will also be on the injured list, dealing with that weird knee injury we talked about. They think about 3 to 4 weeks still he will be out. He's still rehabbing it, working through to try to get back to 100% health, and hopefully on the short end of that window so they can get the number 1 guy back right away.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully on the short end of that, because they need him if they want to do that push and if they want Elliot Friedman's remarks to come to fruition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. They put one of their backup goalies on the waiver wire. They wanted to send him down to Abbotsford. His name is Yuri Patera. He played some in the preseason. The Bruins ended up snatching him off the waiver wire and put him on their roster. They put him back on waivers today, and the Canucks reacquired him. So he will probably be either back up here or he will head to Abbotsford and be one of the guys on the Abbotsford Canucks. So pretty cool. They got him back. I know they were really disappointed that somebody claimed him, but he didn't make their roster, was able to come back to Vancouver. And it's a really great thing that happened, because they are very thin at goaltender. If Seeloff gets hurt, then you're down to guys that haven't seen NHL action at all, and it's a little scary.
No, that's very, very scary. I'm glad that didn't work out for the Bruins that well, because I think they tried to be slick with it, but just weren't that slick, I guess.
Yeah. They were trying to screw the Canucks, but they
Big
didn't
time.
have the room, couldn't fit them in.
Yeah,
Probably
couldn't fit them in.
cap issues or whatever it was, but couldn't fit them in. So Canucks got him back. So great news. I do want to mention the CFL briefly. We went to the Lions game on Friday night. They had a huge win, 32-15 over Calgary. Nathan Rourke was pretty good. He was solid. No mistakes, which was great. 20-24, 218 passing yards, 0 TDs, 0 interceptions, but no mistakes, which was really nice. They played very poorly in the first half, but able to really turn it on the second half. They had a pick six. I think they had 3 picks in the game. Their defense played awesome and really just fueled this win over Calgary. It was really good because they needed to stay in contention to host that Western semifinal game. Saskatchewan won, is still half a game ahead of them because Saskatchewan had a tie earlier this year. And so they have a matchup coming up this week against each other. It will be really big on who decides who gets to host the Western semifinal. Don't want to go to Regina in November. It's not a fun place to be in November. So hopefully the BC can win. BC also has their last game against Montreal. Montreal's wrapped up first in the East a long time ago. Probably will be resting some guys heading into the playoffs. So good chance BC could win the last 2 games and get that big home date here. So you can get the fans into it before the hosting of the Grey Cup coming up in November.
So definitely, basically, their next game against Saskatchewan's a must win. They should look at it as an absolute must win. Yeah. And if they can do that, then hopefully they'll have, like you just said, an easier time against Montreal because they'll be resting a bunch of their guys.
Yeah, totally, exactly. You're right. Yeah. Okay, just sticking in the world of football, I do want to mention some college football action over the weekend. They had those massive upsets. Incredible. Alabama, number 1 Alabama lost to unranked Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt got fined $100,000 today, or maybe it was even yesterday. The fine was levied. And they will actually have to pay quite a bit more money too, because their goalpost is not in the stadium anymore. Did you see the video of it heading down Main Street,
downtown
into the river? They decided they were pulling it out of the stadium and marching it down, partying all night long. It was a pretty wild sight to see the goalposts head down the main street there.
No, it was awesome. I do appreciate the fact that the powers that be, the authorities, the police, just said, okay, we're just going to let it happen. Yeah. There was nothing that you could do. There was like tens of thousands of students flooding the street.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know what, whatever, we'll deal with it in the morning. Cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes you're powerless when the mob's that big. It's just like, all right, let them do their stuff and we'll sort it out tomorrow. Yeah, they'll all be having to go back and nurse their hangovers. We'll be able to clean up the mess and move forward. But yeah, there was probably the biggest victory in Vanderbilt history, an absolute massive win. And it was crazy. The amount of upsets that happened in college football was almost unprecedented. 4 of the top 11 had losses, and I think there was 6. What is it? 6 out of the top 25 lost against unranked opponents. So it was stunning how it all played out. This was the first day in history that multiple AP top 5 teams had lost to unranked opponents ever. And it was in 2016, 5 out of the top 11 lost against unranked opponents. That's the only day in the history of college football where more unranked or more top-ranked teams lost to unranked teams. So the world of college football, we've been talking about it for 5 weeks now. So topsy-turvy and crazy, but wild to see the number 1 seed lose to an unranked opponent like that.
No, that was absolutely unexpected, completely unexpected. I don't know about any of the bettors that put money on Vanderbilt, but they must have had a massive, massive payday for that game.
Yeah, it was totally huge. I think I think the spread was like 21.5 or something crazy. Yeah, it was wild. So unreal. Alabama has fallen all the way down to number 7 ranked. So how the mighty have fallen. Nick Saban out of there, and things don't look good there. I'm very shocked, and this program has to realize how great Nick Saban was, winning those 7 national championships. Really, really hard, tough shoes to fill, but they were not expecting a brutal loss like this.
No, they weren't expecting that. Tough shoes to fill, like you said, but one of the main reasons I believe why Nick Saban left in the first place was all the NIL stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's why he left.
Yeah.
Because the landscape changed. He's old guard. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Which is fine because eventually Nick Saban was going to have to retire anyways. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But you have to understand this is the new world. This is what we live in now. You got to adjust.
The NIL money is one of the big reasons, and also the transfer portal, because it's just so difficult to keep your guys, everyone happy, recruiting properly. Guys are just jumping ship so often that, all your work recruiting a guy and maybe he slots behind a guy because a guy's been, playing 2-3 years in that program already, and then that guy wants to jump ship. It's just causing chaos in the college football world, and I think he didn't want to stick around for that.
No, and I get it, right? Because sometimes you have to challenge your players so that they can experience some sort of growth.
Yeah.
But how are you going to challenge your players when they just go, you know what? I don't like what you have to say. I'm just going to leave.
See you later.
There's your challenge. Challenge accepted. I'm leaving.
Yeah. The balance of power is shifting towards the players like never before, and it's causing some problems, and they're trying to work it out. There's another lawsuit that just got another preliminary step today, and there's just more and more things coming down, changing the whole landscape. It's looking crazy. So many of these programs are going to have to pay tons and tons and tons of money to attract guys, but we'll see how this plays out in the courts. But man, it's just unreal how things have been changing in the landscape. Just you don't even know what's coming next.
No, you don't know what's coming next. Because I remember there's that story about the one quarterback. I cannot remember what team he was from, but he had a conflict about his NIL money. But the question's always been about with the NIL money, well, is there a contract in place?
Right.
Because if there's a contract in place, then he's due whatever he's due. Yeah. But if there's nothing there, then that's a huge problem that the NCAA will have to rectify soon, or else this is going to be complete and utter chaos going forward.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's from the BYU program. It's in Utah, but I'm pretty sure BYU quarterback. The offensive coordinator promised him this money. I guess didn't pass that to the head coach. The money wasn't forthcoming, and so he said, you don't get my services until I get my money I was promised. It was a handshake deal, not in writing, and I think all these college players going forward will have to get it in writing before they make their commitments.
Yep, I think so, because first off, number one and foremost, they have to protect themselves before they're available for the team.
Yeah,
like that's first and foremost. You gotta look out for yourself in this day and age at all times.
Oh yeah.
And so that contract has to be in hand before I commit to even your school. I think that's going to be a step that most players are going to take from now on in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the new number 1 team in college football is Texas. They were able to win on the weekend against Mississippi State 35-13. Ohio State moves to number 2, Oregon's 3, Penn State is 4, Georgia's 5, Miami's 6. Miami had an absolutely amazing 28-point comeback in their game against Cal, and they are the only 6-0 team out there. Man, was that a hell of a game. One of the best games I've ever witnessed in my life. Just a shocking comeback. It did not look like Miami was going to be able to pull it off, and they just steamrolled them in the latter half, fourth quarter, and was able to get that win. And yeah, look out, Miami, only team 6-0, pretty wild.
Nice to see that the Hurricanes are back on the map.
Yeah,
that they're relevant again, because I missed the U. I
yeah.
missed the U, and now that they're back, it's just good to see.
Speaking of Florida teams, Florida international team just unveiled their Miami Vice jerseys, and
Yeah,
oh my God, are they awesome? I think those are the favorite football jerseys that I've ever seen in college football in my life. They are absolutely iconic, incredible, and I gotta buy one. I gotta get one. I'm going online tonight, and I'm getting one sent out. I'll wear it to next week to the podcast. Coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
they are sweet. They're just so cool looking. I think I sent you that through the Instagram.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, those are probably the best looking college jerseys, football jerseys I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They are just they're beautiful.
I know you're a Miami Vice fan. I watched with my dad growing
Yep.
up, watching that team. You showed up at my 40th birthday party, dressed up like Tubbs and looked
Yep.
awesome. And yeah, it just definitely gives me great feelings and memories when I remember the Miami Vice, and you know, those jerseys definitely just flooded back all the memories of those guys and that show, iconic show.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like it's they're just such cool jerseys, and just the fact that they have the nod to the Miami Vice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Doesn't get any better than that.
Totally great. There's a new show on TV. It's called Dr. Odyssey, and Don Johnson is the captain of the ship. And man, he still looks great. He still looks super suave. They got him as a great character, and it's pretty fun. I think I've only watched 2 episodes. Maybe there's only been 2 episodes out, but I recommend it. It's a pretty neat show.
It looks like a combination between like Love Boat and like House or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
it is. Yeah.
Nice little fusion there.
Very good fusion. Yeah, very neat. Okay, your consensus Heisman Trophy leading guy. I said last week I think Travis Hunter should be the guy, but you said no. Ashton Gianti had another fantastic game. Boise State won 62-30. Gianti only played the first half, and he still put up incredible numbers. 13 carries, 186 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then they said, okay, Matt, have a seat. We'll see you next week. And he just was able to kick back and enjoy the rest of the game as they steamrolled over Utah State. Gianti is definitely increasing up to that front runner. Colorado had a bye this week, so didn't get the chance to see any Hunter plays and any more stats from him. But I saw a post, I think you saw it too. The last 3 running backs that have won the Heisman Trophy are Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, and Reggie Bush. Okay. Bush was back in 2005, Ingram 2009, and Derrick Henry 2015. They compare his numbers, Gianti right now after 5 games, to those 3 guys. So listen to the 3 guys, their numbers heading in. So Derrick Henry had 570 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns out of 93 carries in the first 5 games. Mark Ingram had 487 yards on 6 touchdowns and 83 touches. And Reggie Bush had 601 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, and over 73 rushes. Okay. Ashton Gianti, after 5 games, has 1,031 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns, out of what is it, 65 carries through those games. So shocking numbers, unreal. Running backs don't win the Heisman often, but holy cow, it'd be hard to deny him that through those first 5 games already.
Yeah, and he didn't play the second half of that last game because the coach was very cognizant of the fact of, I'll just run up the score and make this into like a farce, so I won't do that. Like if you imagine if he had done that,
Yeah.
he'd said, just go for it. He could have had 400 yards in that
I
game.
know, yeah. He could have, yeah. Well, that's the
Yeah.
second week in a row he sat the whole second half. So,
Yeah.
he could be pushing 1,500 yards already, through 5 games. So, hopefully they don't blow him out. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
He is finding a lot of space and, doing some long runs, but, it's always a worry when a guy's getting this much action that somebody's going to just blow him up and he's going to hurt himself.
Yeah, and hopefully that doesn't happen because I want to see just how many yards he can amass.
Yeah.
And it'd be funny for me because he's my guy now. I'm picking him for the Heisman.
Okay.
If he doesn't win it, okay, show me the guy that beats him then.
Yeah.
I want to know. It might be Travis Hunter. And if he does, but Travis Hunter still has to be spectacular for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But I really want to see if he doesn't win the Heisman, who beats him?
What kind of numbers somebody's going to have?
What kind of numbers are we talking about?
Yeah, I know. It's usually a quarterback that's, on the top 4 or 5 teams up there in the rankings, and, they're lighting it up, but nobody seems to be wanting to take the mantle this year. And Gianti so far through 5 games has it. I have mentioned this guy on a few occasions, but I do want to single him out as well. 17-year-old Ryan Williams is just doing things that are just mind-blowing. He has the nickname Hollywood too already, has had it at a young age. He is in Alabama's loss, he only had 3 catches, 82 yards and a touchdown. That 58-yard touchdown was absolutely spectacular. This season, he's had 19 catches for 544 yards and 6 touchdowns, almost 29 yards per catch. And he's only 17 years old, which is stunning that you could already be in college, already starting, and already putting up these kind of numbers.
I think you could say that he's a prodigy.
Yeah.
He's like a genius prodigy. I've seen some of the highlights. It just looks effortless for him. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like some of the catches he makes, I'm just like, how did he do that? Like, how did he even make the catch? Or the one catch I saw where he made it along the sidelines and he looked like, what the announcer say? I had to agree with him on that. Lynn Swan. Right. Because he tiptoed along the sidelines. Half his body was out of bounds. He still kept in bounds.
Yeah.
And ran in for the touchdown. But like
I couldn't believe that he was able to keep his body somehow in bounds there and stay along the sideline in bounds. It was incredible. Yeah. And I think right away the guy said, I'm probably losing a ton of people here because nobody knows that's watching this game who Lynn Swan is. But holy cow, that was spectacular. And just the body control, able to get the ball, bring it down, and the body control to actually run it in for a TD was spectacular.
Yeah, and I've seen that countless times from him already where you're just like, wait, what kind of, like even the moves that he makes, seamless. Like where you're just like, wait, what kind of move was that? And then he's gone. He's out of there. Like, and it's running for a touchdown. Yeah, I think whatever he's ready to come out of college, he's going to be a number 1 pick. He's going to be top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Top 5.
17 though, yeah, that's shocking. Like, most people aren't getting into college until they're 18, 19 years old. So, for him to already be there and putting up this much of an impact to, against with one of the top teams in the nation. So unreal. 2 quick notes from the NBA. Incredible yesterday to see the dream come true for LeBron James finally getting to suit up on the court with his son. And it was Bronny James' 20th birthday, which is super ironic and wild. And it's a preseason game. It's going to happen in the regular season, it looks like, but pretty wild to see those two actually finally do it. And LeBron has been saying it for many years. I want to stick around. I want to make it, be able to play with my son. It's such a rare thing in sports. And he enters into his 22nd season with Bronny. That was pretty wild to see the highlights yesterday of that game.
Yeah, no, I watched the highlights of that game because I wanted to see what that looked like, and it's awesome. It was so cool to see because you're not going to see that again.
Yeah,
probably not in our lifetime. Like the only time I can remember seeing a father-son, same team play together, wasn't in basketball.
no,
That was in baseball.
Ken Griffey,
and it was Ken Griffey Sr. with Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's the only other time that I can remember seeing a father-son play on the same team together, and it's absolutely a special moment. Yeah. Don't care what anybody else has to say.
It's super special. I've only seen it one other time in my lifetime, and that was in the NHL. And Gordie Howe played into his 50s, was able to play on the same line with his two sons, Mark and Marty. He stuck around. Gordie ended up leaving the NHL, going to the WHA. They all played together on the Houston Aeros WHA team, and then they got moved to Hartford. Hartford got absorbed into the NHL, and he was able to play in the NHL with his two sons. And Marty didn't have a very long career, but Mark ended up having about a 20-year career as well. But that's the only time I remember fathers and sons being able to play professionally at the highest leagues like this.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like it never happens because the longevity that you need to stick around for your son to finally be like, oh, you're finally old enough. Now you can come play with pops. It's something else to have that in you to be able to do that.
They actually, I think they all made the WHA All-Star team, so they all actually played together on the All-Star team too. And I remember Ken Griffey, senior and junior, both hitting a home run in the same game, which was super epic and incredible, and put them into history books forever and ever and ever. There was an NBA game held in Abu Dhabi yesterday. Boston and San Antonio, I believe, were there. Pretty wild. I actually didn't know that was happening. Nobody had publicized it enough for me to know, and I'm pretty tuned in, but I was pretty blown away that they had a game there. I'm sure they're not just going to have a one and done. There's probably a couple of games being played there, but did you hear anything about that?
I had no idea. But I'm not. Am I surprised though? No, I'm not, because it seems that area of the world with those people are spending a lot of money for sports to now for it to become a central hub of sports. Yeah. It really is becoming one now.
Massive. Well, there was big news released yesterday that the NFL has made a visit to Abu Dhabi and is planning to put a game there on their soil as well. They are scanning the globe for different spots. They want to increase their global reach, and they want to put more and more games there. I think there's 6 international games, maybe 9 this international, but I think it's 6 international games this year, and I think they want to increase it to 9 and then keep moving forward. But I heard Abu Dhabi was on the list. I got a small other list here. They made site visits to Ireland, Australia, France, and Italy. And they had that game in Brazil earlier this year. I heard that they want to have another game in Brazil again next year. So, they're going to have games in London. They've been having them already. Games in Germany and Mexico. And pretty wild to hear those countries. Does that kind of blow you away that they're even looking that far away?
Well, no, because I think Goodell's had this idea fermenting in his head for quite some time. He's just had to try to put it into practice. The only thing that I see is the scheduling problem, clearly, right? That's going to be kind of tough to figure all of that out. And then the other problem that I foresee is making sure that the grass is right. I know that they had a problem in Brazil last time,
That was bad.
and I think that's just a thing that they're just going to have to really figure out going forward, like just to make sure that the grass is right. And then also too, whatever stadiums in the States that still have turf, get rid of those.
Yeah.
Those are done now. It's time to go to grass. It's time to make sure that all those owners actually see the light of, if you do grass, your guys will be less injured.
Yeah.
It's already out there. The stats are there. You have turf. You're going to injure your players or the opponent's players more often than not.
Yeah.
If you have real grass, it's like you're going to save money on that. So I think it's time for all the arenas to go to real grass.
Oh, big time, big time. You sent me a post of a stadium.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember what the stadium was? I'm trying to pull it up.
Okay, so I remember that was in for, I think it was the Premier League.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Was it Bayern Munich or something like that?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And what they have, that is the ultimate of state of the art.
Wow.
The ultimate. Like, I think it was a $2 billion retrofit that they did.
Yeah.
And so now they have grass that they have underneath the stadium that has like the ultraviolet lights. They have the irrigation system set up, and I think it's tiered too as well.
Yeah.
So they have different.
Incredible.
That's what you need to do nowadays.
Yeah.
Sorry if it costs you a lot of money, but apparently they're able to do it for the soccer players over there. So you're trying to tell me that NFL don't have money like that? You guys poor? You guys lacking in money?
No,
I think you can get it done. I think you can figure out something like that. Maybe not up to that extent, but you can definitely figure out something like that.
It's spectacular. Yeah, take a look. Anybody that's listening or watching, try to find out the details on that Real Madrid stadium. It's $2 billion retrofit, but incredible technology to get that grass field immaculate all the time. It goes out in sections and down and keep growing wherever they place it, I guess, when they're not playing games on it. And yeah, that's where the NFL should be turning to, putting that into every stadium and just making it some mandatory type of thing, because yeah, it's ridiculous that they're forcing guys to play on this artificial turf, and just wearing guys out, killing them. It's brutal. You sent me a post this past weekend as well on the richest team owners in the NFL, and Walton owns the Denver Broncos, 94.3 billion. So 2 billion, not much of an outlay there. Then we got David Tepper for the Panthers, 21.3 billion. Stephen Ross from the Dolphins, 17 billion. Stanley Kroenke from the Rams, almost 17 billion. And Jerry Jones, the poor man on this list, a little over 15 billion. So let's do it. We don't need these artificial turf fields anymore, and this should be something from the past.
It should be something from the past. And and the other thing is too, like, just the non-contact injuries you could suffer from artificial turf.
Brutal.
Which I was looking at too as well, like off YouTube and stuff. Brutal. Where people are just celebrating and then, oh, blow my knee, oh, blow my Achilles. It's just like, that's from the turf.
Yeah.
If it was grass, I'm telling you right now, that's probably not going to happen like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Something needs to be done about that.
Yeah, let's change it right away for sure. Okay, we're gonna talk about the NFL in 2 seconds. It's still 4-1. We're looking at the bottom of the sixth, that game between the Yankees and the Royals. So okay, we had week 5 in the NFL. Incredible. We're gonna start in the NFC East as always, and I guess I'm not shocked anymore. The Commanders are leading the division quite handily, beating down the Browns 34-13. Only one quarterback in NFL history has 1,000 passing yards and 250 rushing yards personally in the first 5 games of his career, and that's Jaden Daniels. This guy is not only going for Rookie of the Year, he's going for MVP of the league, and he's starting to knock off records of Hall of Fame quarterbacks that it's just stunning and shocking. And I thought he would be good. I just did not realize that he was going to have this much of an impact this soon into his NFL career.
And I think the thing that's really helped him up for this team, for his offense that he runs, that they're running the ball so well. Like they're running the ball beautifully, man. Like for himself in this game, he had 11 carries for 82 yards. And then McNichols, another 44 yards on 7 carries and a touchdown. Then Robinson, 7 carries, just 18 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. Like the amount of rushing touchdowns that this team has, I think they got to be blowing everybody else out of the water. It can't even be close.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome running game. And that balanced attack. I thought it was an amazing balanced attack with 216 passing yards, 215 rushing yards. And he had 3 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown run himself. And no, he had 1 touchdown pass and was able to also get 82 yards on the ground himself. They've got just an amazingly dynamic team. They just had to get Dan Schneider the F out of there and bring in some proper owners, bring in some proper management of this team. And Magic Johnson has that magic touch. He's been able to go in there with this team, and it's just a completely different look. I don't even recognize them from when they were the Redskins.
No, I don't recognize them either. Like they're just a better run organization, and they don't have that disgusting, like that guy as the owner anymore. Like I think he cast a shadow over the entire organization, and it just lowered the morale of the entire organization. So now that he's gone, they are so much better. But considering, like, speaking of just casting a shadow of the organization, let's talk about the Browns for a second. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
My goodness. Like, okay, I think it was Sims was breaking down the analysis of Watson. He wasn't nice, by the way. He really wasn't nice. No. He was just like, look at this. Look at this. These guys are open, and he's not seeing anything. He's not throwing the ball. He's taking sacks. He's fumbling the ball. Like, and I'm looking at him as he's doing the analysis, and I'm just like, he's lost it.
Yeah.
Whatever magic or stuff that he had, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. And he's going to tank the organization along with them because of the fact that his contract just locks him in. There's nothing really they can do.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane how, many quarterbacks they've ruined. I don't know if he was already ruined when he got there, but the Cleveland effect has killed so many promising, amazing quarterbacks. And Deshaun seems to be the latest victim. They just made a massive mistake handing out that guaranteed deal, and they're stuck with him. They're stuck with him, and they're gonna suffer. It's gonna it'd probably be even worse before they're able to get out of this and move forward. Cleveland was only 1 for 13 on 3rd downs, only had 12 first downs in the entire game. Deshaun only had 125 yards passing and only had 14 yards rushing himself. It was just a complete mismatch at the quarterback position. Absolute blowout for the Commanders. They are sitting on top of the East quite easily, 4-1, and looking great moving forward. They go to Baltimore Sunday, so really excited about that Lamar Jaden Daniels matchup. We were really anticipating the Josh Allen Lamar Jackson Sunday nighter recently. This one Sunday morning is going to be the one to really look at.
Oh no, that's going to be a great game. That's going to be a fantastic game. I can't wait to watch that. That will definitely be the Sunday morning game that I'll be watching.
Yeah. The Browns visit the Eagles in Philly on Sunday. The Eagles had a bye this week, and so they will be back playing the Browns. Let's talk about the Cowboys, who sit second in the East. They got a really gutty win. I was like, damn, damn, damn. I was thinking they were not going to be able to pull this off. It looked like Pittsburgh's defense was going to hold them off. And Dak Prescott ends up driving them down the field. They had a fourth down. They fumbled the ball on third down. And it was like he just got it back. And then they were back to the 4-yard line, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're not going to be able to pull this off. He's able to find Tolbert on a 4-yard pass, and they win the game with 20 seconds left. Pissing me off, pissing a lot of Cowboy haters off. And yeah, Pittsburgh was not able to outscore their great defense. And Cowboys pulled out the 2017 win late last night.
Yeah, I thought Steelers were going to win it. Because they scored, I think, on their last possession.
Yeah.
And then forcing Dallas to try to score on their last possession, right? Yeah. So I'm like, man, like TJ Watt was being a menace throughout the entirety of that game. He was unbelievable. I was like, you know what? I think the Steelers might have this.
Yeah.
And I thought Fields played pretty good. I thought he played pretty good. By the way, he had 135 yards for 2 touchdowns. I just wanted to point out one of his touchdowns was to Connor Hayward, who is the son of former, may he rest in peace, he's passed away, Ironhead Hayward from the Atlanta Falcons, and also to his brother, I think Cameron Hayward is the defensive tackle for the Steelers as well. Nice. So both brothers are on the team. Nice. I just wanted to point that out. I wanted to say shout out to them because they played very, very well. I was kind of pissed. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I really thought the Steelers were going to win this game. I really did. Considering Dak turned over the ball 2 times too with 2 interceptions. Yeah,
they had picked him off a couple times. We're in his face, pressuring the living hell out of him. He threw for 350 yards, but holy cow, was he ever being pressured by those outside ends. And TJ Watt got his 100th career sack, second fastest in NFL history. Reggie White is the only guy that did it sooner. And DeMarcus Ware and Bruce Smith are in place 3 and 4. Incredible. White was able to do it in 96 games. It took TJ 106 games, 113 for DeMarcus Ware and 115 for Bruce Smith. But holy cow, TJ Watt is just incredible to watch, and just putting the pressure on like never before. He is the only player actually in NFL history to lead the league in sacks in 3 separate years. And he's still at the top of his game. So it's too bad that they don't have just a bit better offense to go along with that stout defense. They're dominating, but the Steelers are still 3-2 and looking pretty good. It looks like Russell Wilson is going to be cleared to play this coming week. Do you think we see him under center, or are they still going to go with Fields week 6?
No freaking way. There's no way. I think the team has better chemistry with Fields right now. I think he's the better option to go with. I think it'd be foolish to put Wilson in over Fields at this point in time.
Yeah.
I think it'd be foolish.
Okay. They got a pick from Joey Porter Jr. to also on this offense, and great to see him continue his legacy. His father was absolutely awesome player, and it's great to see him being super athletic, getting a really nice pick and a return. And I love the Porters. Those guys are really fun to watch.
Yeah, man, and I believe his father was up in one of the VIP boxes watching the game with his wife and watching their son play, and awesome to see. I love seeing, like the former generation cheer on the new generation, which are their kids, and then to see them have success on the football field. Great to see.
Yeah. Dallas has struggled big time this year rushing the ball, and I knew they would when they got rid of Pollard. They brought Zeke back, who's way past his due date. And then they said, "Oh yeah, our number one back's going to be Rico Dowdle." I'm like, Rico Dowdle. Okay, sure. And they proved me right. This first 4 weeks, they were the worst rushing team in football going into this game. But Rico had a pretty good game. Had 87 yards on the ground and another 27 through the air with a touchdown. And yeah, maybe he is the guy. But those first 4 weeks, man, they look bad. Dak has had to pass the ball so much and be the reason why they're winning. But they need a more balanced attack, and maybe Rico is the guy.
Maybe he's the guy. I think we're going to need a couple more games to see if he can actually become the guy, because everybody behind him doesn't seem that capable. And like, as you said, Ezekiel Elliott, I think his legs are done.
Yeah. It's pretty wild to see this fullback Lipke getting carries. He had that one really big third down catch and run down the sideline, and wild to see a fullback have an impact. Don't see that very often anymore in the NFL.
No, you don't, because like the fullback position is almost like it's almost an obsolete position. Yeah. But sometimes I think to myself, it shouldn't be, because I remember back in the day, I remember a guy by the name of Mike Allstott, one of the best fullbacks in football, period. So
awesome, man.
If you got a guy like that, you got a talent like that, you bring back the fullback position immediately, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. He must have the record for the widest shoulders that in football history. The guy was just an absolute tank. He just would just rumble through and just push guys off, and just he would be stopped, you think, and then he would just spin off and just rumble for another 20, 30, 40 yards. He was one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, good call out.
Yeah, man. Like I said again, if you got a guy like that, of that kind of talent, you got to bring your full pack position back. And for Lipke, he had a great game. And if he can continue to do that, like offer up something on offense, they got to utilize him more then.
Yeah. This game had a massive weather delay, and it really didn't seem like it was actually going to go off. It is the latest game. It is the latest game in NFL history, I heard. And because they started in London, 6:30 Pacific time, it's the longest football day in the history of the NFL. So pretty wild how much it stretched out. And hopefully there's not a lot of divorces today going forward because of guys being on the couch from this early to late at night last night.
Or a lot of people that were just like, yeah, so for some reason I can't make it into work today. Not feeling great.
Yeah. Dak Prescott goes into the history books as the only guy to throw interceptions on 2 different days in the same game.
Nice. That is awesome. What a tremendous accomplishment for Dak.
Yeah. But he threw the winning touchdown in that second day, so it's all forgotten now, and the Cowboys are 3-2.
Yep, the Cowboys are 3-2, and thank goodness they're 3-2. It would not be good in Cowboy Nation if they were the other way around.
No kidding, yeah, big time, yeah. The Cowboys visit the Lions Sunday. That's 1:25 Pacific time kickoff, and the Steelers go to Vegas to play the Raiders. That's at 1:05 Pacific time kickoff time. Okay, the last team in the NFC West we have to cover, NFC East we have to cover is the Giants. They went into Seattle and actually really shocked the Seahawks, winning 29-20. Seahawks were supposed to easily handle them. It was the 1-3 Giants coming in against the 3-1 Hawks, and home Geno Smith came into this game leading the NFL in passing yards. And their offense had looked dynamic. Their defense had looked great. And somehow the Giants end up shocking them. Seahawks had a chance to tie the game late with a 47-yard field goal. It was blocked and returned for a touchdown. And that gave the Giants their win. There was a few field goals blocked yesterday. This one, though, really changed the whole complexion of this game and gave the Giants the win.
I was just surprised. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't. My eyes were having a hard time trying to figure out, like, is this really happening? Like the Giants are actually beating the Seahawks. Especially when they blocked the field goal and then returned it for the touchdown. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess every dog has its day. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way I can describe this. Because Geno Smith was definitely not the problem here.
No.
He had a terrific game.
Yeah.
28 for 40, 284 yards, a touchdown, and 4 carries for 72 yards.
Yeah.
I think he did everything that he was supposed to do. Period.
He should have carried the ball more. If he's getting 72 yards and 4 carries, come on, Gino, get us more. Let's go. Let's go. I was surprised as well. I had my money on Seattle. They were missing both Devin Singletary and Malik Neighbors going into this one. So two of their top offensive weapons. Jones had a good game with 257 passing yards and a couple touchdowns and 38 on the ground. But two guys stepped up in the absence of Neighbors and Singletary. Tyrone Tracy Jr. had 18 carries for 129 yards on the ground. Darius Slayton had 122 yards through the air with a touchdown. And Wandale Robinson had the other touchdown. Dexter Lawrence was a beast, though. He ended up having 3 sacks himself, and he had the sack at the end of the game that really just put the nail in the coffin. DJ Davidson had two of 7 sacks, so they did get through the offensive line of the Seahawks and pressure Geno a little more than he would have liked to, and I think that also contributed to the big win.
Yeah, man, that definitely contributed to the win. I guess hats off to the Giants for getting this one, because they're not going to get many more this season.
No, period. That's true. Yeah. For the Hawks, Lockett had 75 yards through the air. DK had 55. Smith and Jigba had 70, or had 31 yards and a touchdown. And Rashawn Jenkins had the big 100-yard fumble return for the touchdown. And I thought that was going to really contribute to the win, because usually when you can have a team knocking at the door on one end and give up a touchdown on the other right away without scoring, you think that's going to really contribute to a win, and usually does. But surprisingly, the Giants won it.
No, surprisingly they did. Usually that does, but then if you were able to come back with the game on line and block a field goal, that's going to tie the game and then score a touchdown. That'll do it.
I don't remember seeing a guy come through that A gap so easily. Isaiah Simmons was able to just somehow just squeeze himself right through, untouched, get the block, and then Bryce Ford Wheaton was able to grab the ball once it was blocked and run it in. But man, he just came shooting through that hole. I was shocked.
He was unblocked. It's almost like, I don't know if somebody missed the assignment or he was just able to just gamble and time it correctly so that the guy didn't even have a chance to block him because he was already through.
He was, yeah. Giants host the Bengals on the Sunday nighter coming up next weekend here. And then the Seahawks host the 49ers in an NFC West battle, and that goes Thursday nighter. So coming up in a few days here. That'll be a great battle because the Seahawks are 3-2. The Niners are second in the division at 2-3. So yeah, it could really tighten it up or put the Seahawks with a 2-game advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be a hotly contested game. That's for sure.
I'm surprised at how much the teams are struggling in the West, and surprised that the Cardinals were able to beat the 49ers. They won 24-23 yesterday in the NFC West battle. I did not see this one coming. Arizona was able to come back all the way from a 23-10 deficit and pull out the win. Elijah Higgins had a 2-yard TD catch that was sandwiched by 2 field goals from Chad Ryland. The last one was a 35-yarder coming with a minute and 7 seconds left for the win. This game also had a blocked field goal return for a touchdown as Commodore Lenore was able to get a 61-yard touchdown on a blocked field goal return. Kyler Murray had a great game with 200 yards passing with a touchdown and 7 carries for 83 yards and another touchdown himself on the ground. Yeah, I guess the 49ers, with their injury troubles, must have just jumped up and bit them, and it led to losing to their division rivals.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Purdy had 2 interceptions on the day, but he threw for 1 touchdown. And Brandon Ayuk finally showed up. He had a massive game.
Yeah,
8 receptions for 147 yards, but just wasn't enough. They just didn't put enough points on the board to secure the win. If they had one more field goal to get the win, got a touchdown to get the win, but 23-10. I remember watching the game at that point in time, and I thought to myself, I think this game's over.
this is over. Yeah.
So I switched the channel, only to come back later and to be like, "What just happened?" What just happened?
Stunning, yeah. Even Marvin Harrison didn't contribute too much, which surprised me. They were able to get a good game from Michael Wilson, good game from James Conner, and obviously those 2 picks really were huge for Arizona to get the win. The Cards go to Green Bay and play the Packers Sunday early window. And as I already mentioned, Seahawks Thursday against the 49ers. Okay, let's cover the last team in the NFC West, the Rams. They played the Packers, and the Packers were able to come back as well. Green Bay was down 13-10 at the half, and then Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft started hooking up. And he was able to get 2 touchdowns in that third quarter, a 66-yarder and a 7-yarder to give them all the points they need. They won 24-19, pushing their record to 3-2. Rams fall back to 1-4. Love was missing Romeo Doubs, who got suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. Didn't have a lot of weapons, but Tucker Kraft ended up being that guy, and that guy's a beast of a tight end. Holy cow. He just absolutely stiff-armed guys as he was running down the field to score those touchdowns, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure the rest of this year on an undermanned team. I heard Dobbs is coming back after that 1-game suspension, but I thought they would really seriously miss him.
Yeah, so did I, but I guess didn't miss him that much because Tucker Kraft kind of came out of nowhere and said, "Got it, boys, got it." And especially when he had that one stiff arm where he ran down the sideline for the touchdown, that was nice. That was really nice. I'm not surprised that the Rams lost this game because they're just missing too many weapons.
Yeah,
sorry to say it, like they're missing too many guys. If you're depending on who is their top receiver, Whittington, 7 receptions for 89 yards. If you're depending on that guy, I don't know who he is. I'm sure he's fine player, but not good enough.
No,
it's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. But Kyron Williams did have a great game. He had 100 yards rushing and a touchdown.
Yeah, true. I also want to make mention of Xavier McKinney. He set an NFL record on Sunday. He got another pick. That's a pick in his first 5 games as a Packer. First time in NFL history a guy's moved on to a new team and got a pick in the first 5 games of their career. He also recovered a fumble. He is the best safety in the game, bar none, no questions asked. He has the best numbers. Anybody can, debate me. That's not going to happen. He is the best guy. Very, very smart of the Giants to let him go. And pretty ridiculous that the Giants weren't able to get him under contract. He went over to the Pack for 4 years, $67 million, and they are happy that they made that move because he's solidified that defense and has looked spectacular so far. He is leading the league in receptions thrown to him. He's only allowing one reception every 90 and a half snaps right now. So that's unbelievable. Like, you don't throw the ball anywhere near the guy because your receiver's not getting the ball. And that is a serious, serious weapon on the defensive side.
It's a good thing that the Giants know what their personnel is like, and they said, you know what? You're not very good. You don't fit here. We're going to let you go.
Look what they did to Saquon. They did it on offense. They did it on defense.
Yeah.
Team, I don't know who the hell's the personnel director, but he should be fired immediately.
Now, I would think that they should probably look elsewhere for another guy that's probably better. That doesn't just give away their talent for pennies on the dollar and to say, you know what? I don't think he's very good. Because this guy's been amazing. And like you said, solidified the secondary for the Packers. And he's going to continue to do great things. And he's going to be there for a long time because the Packers are smart. They're like, hey, we're going to give you a contract and we're going to pay you.
Yeah.
So that you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that was one of the best offseason moves for sure by them. And holy cow, the guy's been unreal. He's been targeted the fifth highest amount of targets towards him this year. But yeah, he's just not letting anybody get the ball caught in during the game. You know, maybe one catch a game is going anywhere near him. So pretty wild, pretty incredible. Josh Jacobs, another huge pickup for them. Aaron Jones was a big loss, but Jacobs had another good game, about 100 yards, had another touchdown. And yeah, going forward, Packers look good. They host the Cardinals on Sunday. That's in the early window. And the Rams have a bye. They need to regroup. Hopefully they can get their top guys, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, back and have a semblance of some top receivers.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for. Hopefully one of them can come back by that time or be getting closer to coming back.
Yeah. Okay, let's turn to the NFC North. Vikings still undefeated. 23-17 win over in London. Early game, a lot of tough things about having to travel that far for a game, but they were able to roll up a win. They relied on their defense a lot. Picking off Aaron Rodgers 3 times was massive. They got some big field goals, and they were able to pull out the win. Andrew Van Ginkel with the big 63-yard pick 6 was huge. CJ Ham had a short touchdown run that gave them the 17-0 lead. They only needed to really just get another field goal the rest of the game. Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be the answer, but the New York Jets, after 5 games, their record last year was 2-3, and they had scored 93 points in those 5 games. Exactly the same as this year, a 2-3 record with 93 total points this year. Not much difference, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like himself. He doesn't look like that Hall of Fame quarterback that they're used to, and the Jets are back down, looking lost, and really not generating much on offense, again and again and again.
I'll tell you what he does look like. Looks a little bit like Zach Wilson, doesn't he?
Exactly.
I know it's sacrilegious for him even to go there, but he does.
Yeah.
2-3. It's the same record, the same amount of points. Okay, first off, he was forcing the ball too much. Like I think he was trying to do too much. He was trying to force the ball downfield when he shouldn't have.
Yeah. And
he should have just done more checkdowns or whatever. But I think he was just trying to force the ball downfield too much. That's why he had the 3 interceptions. That's number one.
Yeah.
At least he's getting the ball to his best receiver more often than not, which is Garrett Wilson, 13 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's what he does need to continue to keep doing. He needs to continue to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But going forward, forcing the ball into like tight double coverage or stuff like that, or trying to force it downfield, that doesn't work.
No.
And he knows better, and he shouldn't be doing that. So
And I'm surprised they're not relying on their running game more. Brees Hall was supposed to be considered one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. He is not doing a lot. He's not getting a ton of touches, but he had only 9 carries, 23 yards. That's not enough. Their guy Braylon Allen had a good game a couple games ago, but he also only had 13 yards on the ground. They're not getting a balanced attack, and people are keying on Rodgers, bringing him down, sacking him, pressuring the hell out of him. He ended up injured. He looked in a lot of pain when he went down. He says it's a low ankle sprain, and he should be okay. But when I saw it, I thought, oh, he's gone for the year. The way he screamed out in pain, and he was twisted over top of the guy as he was being shoved down. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't suffer something a lot more serious.
Yeah, man. Like, and that's the other thing. Their offensive line is not very good.
No.
He doesn't have a lot of protection, so he's looking at it like I got to get the ball out now,
Yeah.
like right away. Like all his routes have to be timing routes and stuff like that because his offensive line is just not very good. They're not doing what they're supposed to. They're not protecting him, so he's got it tough. I don't know, like who's the head coach for the Jets? The ball head,
Robert
huh?
Saleh. Robert
Saleh needs to figure out some stuff on offense to help Aaron out because he knows that they're definitely deficient on the offensive line. He doesn't have a lot of time, man.
No, I don't think Robert Saleh needs to figure it out. I think they need to fire Robert Saleh and get somebody else to figure it out because that guy does not know football enough to lead the Jets team. It's bad. He needs to go. The guy is bad. He's not good at all.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a winning record, does he?
Yeah, no, I think the experiment with Robert Saleh needs to move on and yeah, get rid of him. Aaron took the microphone after the game and said that three interception game is an anomaly. It's such a rarity for me. It doesn't happen much. And so I started looking into some numbers and stuff, and he's right about this. Also, he said, yeah, I don't think I had much pick sixes in my entire career. Uh, I see a list here of some of these quarterbacks. Brett Favre leads this list with pick sixes, 32,
Nice.
Hall of Famer. Drew Brees, 27, Peyton Manning, 27, and Eli Manning, 22. All Hall of Famers in my mind here. Two of them already in, two of them probably going in soon, and Aaron Rodgers with 5 in his entire career. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a rare thing to get a pick six on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no. So okay, so he's absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. Something that Eli now has over his brother. Maybe I'll X him on this, not tweet, but X. Where it's just like now you got something else on your brother. Only 22 pick sixes. Where older brother 27. What's up with that?
That's awesome. Yeah. Another thing to rub it into his face. I got more Super Bowl rings and way less pick sixes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah. Sam Darnold had a good enough game. It wasn't needed too much. They had a nice balanced attack. Unfortunately, Aaron Jones got hurt in this game and left the game. He has a hip injury. We'll see what happens there. The Vikings get a bye coming up this week, so might be really smart and helpful for him to get totally healthy. Ty Chandler had to come in and had a decent game, but Aaron Jones is huge for them. Justin Jefferson had a good game with 6 catches for 92 yards, and Stephon Gilmore was really huge with getting a pick with only 45 seconds left at the end of the game. There, the Jets were marching again, and Aaron Rodgers threw his 3rd pick to Gilmore right at the end, just at the 26-yard line. So they easily could have punched it in there and made this a completely different story. The Jets host their New York rival, the Buffalo Bills, and that's 1 week from tonight, the Monday nighter. So, okay, sticking with the NFC North, let's talk about the Bears. The Bears ended up stomping on the Carolina Panthers 36-10. The Bears are now 3-2, and Panthers fall to 1-4. There are three rookie quarterbacks with winning records after 5 games for the first time since 1950. So we had Jaden Daniels, we've got Bo Nix, and we also have Caleb Williams. Now are the three guys that have winning records at the first 5 games as rookie quarterbacks. First time since 1950, so it's a long, long time back.
And it's absolutely amazing that they've been able to do it all three in wildly different ways.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels obviously being the best kind of way, and Caleb relying a lot on his defense to get some of these wins. Except for this particular game, he was actually fantastic. 20 of 29, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and guess who's being happy now? Who's happy in the offense?
DJ Moore is finally
DJ
there.
Moore.
Yeah.
DJ Moore's ecstatic.
Yeah.
5 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't think he wants out of the Bears right now.
Yeah.
As long as I keep getting the ball, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. He was disgruntled, but they turned that around. Were able to get him the ball, and he proved his worth there. Roshan Johnson also had a couple of touchdowns, just both 1-yard runs, and DeAndre Swift also had a 1-yard touchdown there. And yeah, Chicago's looking great. They've got a lot of weapons, and it's working well. I'm pretty shocked that they are 3-2, but yeah, this team has come together now. The Panthers under Dalton. Dalton had a step back after that win last week. Chuba Hubbard had their lone touchdown. Good to see the Canadians still being the preeminent back there. He had 13 carries for 97 yards. His touchdown was a 38-yard scamper that displayed his speed and his elusiveness. Bryce Young ended up getting some snaps in this game. Maybe they're starting to think about moving him back in there, giving him another chance, that now that Dalton took the pressure off a little bit, maybe we'll see Bryce Young coming up to be the QB again, which kind of really surprises me. I thought he was done in Carolina after they benched him for Andy Dalton before.
Yeah, well, or maybe the organization is taking on a little bit of responsibility, saying, well, we kind of have destroyed this kid, so maybe give him a little bit of time off, let him try to learn some stuff on the sidelines, give him some time away, then maybe we can crush his spirits again. Get him in
there. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past these guys.
Yeah.
They've done it to a ton of talented players. So one big sad note was Davian Clowney got a shoulder injury. It looked pretty serious. He is out. We'll see the extent. Never heard today on what's going to happen with him going forward. This game got really heated near the end of the game too. Couple of guys got kicked out of the game for fighting. Panthers J.C. Horn and the Bears offensive lineman Matt Pryor both ejected for scrapping, and there had been a lot of skirmishes throughout this game. Panthers have some fight in them, but they gotta be a lot better than they are. 1-4, losing 36-10 is pretty tough.
Yeah. You know what? You can't beat them, then I guess you can always fight them. Go Panthers.
Right. You are going to be happy who the Panthers face next. They're facing.
I think I knew
your team Sunday in the later window. Falcons will bring them in Sunday, the 1:25 Pacific time. So nice. See the Falcons get another victory. Should be almost a guarantee there. Chicago hosts the Jags, and that's another London game. Happens 6:30 Pacific kickoff time there.
That should be good. That should be a good game. Jags look like they've kind of woken up a little bit from this previous win, so hopefully that'll be entertaining.
Yeah. Okay, let's turn to the NFC South here. We just got one game to cover out of all the teams we haven't talked about so far. The Falcons were able to get a huge win over the Bucks, and that was on the Thursday nighter. Hell of a great game, amazing back and forth. One of the games of the year. Kirk Cousins' numbers were effing incredible. 42 of 58, 509 yards and 4 TDs. That's why they paid him the big bucks. That's why they brought him in. And holy cow, did he ever put it on display that night? That must have just made you absolutely thrilled to see how he was able to come in and engineer all these touchdown drives and get a huge win over a tough Bucks team.
Like I was amazed because it's like they're hanging in there. Oh, this is good. Like because the Bucks have been on a tear, and I know that Mayfield, he's not gonna mess anything up. So I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do. And by the end of the game, when you see Cousins with over 500 yards passing, I'm like, all right, man. Like it was impressive. It was an impressive win. Drake London, 12 receptions, 154 yards and a touchdown. And Darnell Mooney, 9 receptions, 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. They played fantastic. But at the same time, you know what? The Bucks played really well as well. Like they had a great game.
Yep.
Nothing. I can't say anything bad about Mayfield. He did what he was supposed to do. 19 of 24, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. Evans had 2 touchdowns. Shepard had a touchdown. You know, like it was just a well-played game. Somebody had to lose. Kind of glad it was the Bucks. Glad my Falcons won.
Yeah, it was a great night all around. Matty Ice was honored. His number put up in the Ring of Honor. Pretty incredible to see him return and then see the guy that's coming in to try to take this team forward, have 509 yards. And I think he beat his record, didn't he?
Yeah, yes, he did, because I believe Matty Ice's record was 505.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah. So he beat him by like 4. So I don't know if he was happy about that. I know I'd probably be kind of pissed and like, oh, you beat that? Okay, I'm not too happy about that. But I'm glad we got the win.
Yeah. Young Wei Koo had a 1 missed field goal and 1 blocked, but he still had a really nice long field goal, was able to be 3 for 5 in the game, and still such a solid leg. Going to help this team win a lot of games when it's coming down to the crunch time.
Yeah, man. He's a great kicker. He might be one of our best kickers we've ever had for the organization, actually.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic.
Okay, so the Bucks go to play their division rival Saints. That's in Sunday early window. The Falcons go to the Carolina Panthers, and that's in the later window. Okay, so we've got some AFC games to cover now. The AFC East we're starting with. Bills are leading the division at 3-2. Jets are 2-3, same as the Dolphins, and the Patriots have fallen down to 1-4. Unbelievable game here between the Texans and the Bills. Texans ended up beating the Bills 23-20. Texans are now 4-1. Bills fall to 3-2. I'm going to give you $1 million if you can properly pronounce the kicker's middle name for the Houston Texans. His name that everybody hears is Fairburn. Okay, first name Kaimi, everybody says, but I want you to Wikipedia Kaimi Fairburn.
Okay. Kaimi?
Yeah.
How do you
K-A-I-M-I.
Oh, A-I?
K-A-I-M-I.
Okay. Okay, Fairburn.
It'll come up, Fairburn. Wikipedia him.
All right.
Okay, now near the top of the Wikipedia page, just below John Christian, they show his Hawaiian name. And
okay.
I want you to try to pronounce that for me. $1 million if you pronounce it correctly.
Okay, hold on a second. Oh, okay. That's how you spell his first name. That's definitely Hawaiian. All right. Give me a sec. My stuff is really, really, really slow. Still really, really, really slow. Still really, really, really slow. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, come on, man. I'm not doing that. What is that? Like what? No, what? Like seriously, is that? Wait, what is that? Like,
I think
is
it's
that
like
his?
30
No,
something letters.
is that part of his first name going flowing into his second name? Like what? Like too many letters there.
Yeah,
That looks like
something
the
like
whole freaking
30
alphabet.
something letters in that name, and holy crap, I was just stunned trying to pronounce that the other day. But man, this guy is a gamer. He hit the game-winning 59-yard walk-off field goal to give the Texans the win as time expired. Holy cow, it was quite the shot. And yeah, he's got a leg. We talked about Young Wei Koo having a leg. This Hawaiian does too, and was the reason why they end up getting the win.
Yeah, man. Like actually, you know what? This year we got a lot of kickers that got big legs.
Yeah.
Got a lot of kickers in the league now that got big legs, but definitely game on the line. They counted on him to win the game. He got it done. CJ Stroud had another fantastic game, 28 to 38, 331 yards, one touchdown. Collins had a touchdown, two receptions for 78 yards. Did he go out with an injury though?
Yeah, he's got a hamstring injury and he's out week to week right now. So yeah, not good to see. He got hurt, and he's had such a fantastic year already, being such a weapon. But yeah, they say week to week for sure with his hamstring.
That's too bad. That's too bad. But you know what? The receiving core that Stroud has is still strong enough. They should be fine without him for at least a little bit. Um, Allen, I didn't think had a great game. I didn't think he had a great game at all. 9 of 30, under 31 yards, one touchdown. The fact that they even brought this game back and made it close, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That they were able to even do that.
I blame Allen definitely for this loss. He did not look himself. He was, really inaccurate. Also, they got the ball deep in their end with about 30 seconds left, 40 seconds left, and he threw three ridiculous passes, ended up having to punt the ball back to Houston. Houston ended up getting the ball, only had to go one play, I think they got 7 yards, and then were able to kick this winning field goal. They mismanaged the clock like I haven't seen a team in a long time. And I was talking about Robert Saleh being fired. Somebody maybe should be fired over the mismanagement of the clock here. They got the ball so deep that they should have just kneeled down and played for overtime. They especially after the first incompletion, maybe the second incompletion, and you still throw a third time. They could have been picked, and even worse, they punt the ball, not a very great punt. You get a small return, and then they only have to do one play for a short gain and kick a winning field goal. It was brutal. And honestly, Buffalo should be waking up today, at least having a chance in overtime, having a victory, or not just talking about this defeat. That was just brutal. Unbelievable mismanagement there. It was crazy.
Yeah, they should have ran off the clock. They should have ran off more time off the clock. They should have did some running plays. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you could say that the head coach could have and should have done things a lot differently.
Yeah, Sean
He did
McDermott.
not.
Not good.
Yeah, so
No. Sean
it cost
McDermott.
them a game.
Not good at all. That was just crazy. I couldn't believe that they blew that and just handed the game away. Just shocking. CJ Stroud said, "Thank you very much." And Stephon Diggs said, basically, "Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad I'm out of there. I'm 4-1. You guys are 3-2. You can shove the Buffalo winter. I'm going to be down in Houston, enjoying myself, heading to the playoffs. Good luck, boys."
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you saw that, but I think it was at the end of the game. I think I may have sent you the Instagram of the look that Diggs gave Josh Allen after the game.
I didn't see that.
It wasn't one of brotherly love.
No,
I would say
no,
that.
I don't think there's much love lost there. So yeah, he got his revenge, and yeah, usually guys don't, but he did on that one. The Bills, as I mentioned, play the Jets. That's Monday, week from tonight. The Texans travel to the Patriots. Play the early window on Sunday there. So Okay. Also in the AFC East, we had the AFC East tilt between the Dolphins and the Patriots. The Dolphins ended up pulling out this victory. Both teams are terrible. This was a really, really brutal game. And the Dolphins were dealt a couple of blows in this game. Devon Achane left the game with a concussion early, and Javon Holland, our Canadian, broke a bone in his hand, and will have to miss some time as well. Yeah, just a horribly ugly game, not fun to watch. And yeah, Dolphins pulled it out. But yeah, they just beat the Patriots, who look pretty bad.
Yeah, the Patriots, Stevenson had a good game. He had 12 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown, only touchdown of the game. And then the Dolphins were just like, you know what? Field goals, baby. Field goals, more and more field goals.
Yeah.
And that's how the game. And impressive 5 field goals like that and winning the game. So yeah, it sucks that the Dolphins are just that diminished without Tua.
Yeah,
They're not even close
yeah,
to the 50.
Huntley looks terrible, and
Yeah.
yeah, Tuo's makes a big difference with this team.
He
They
was-
only got 3 field goals. They did get a touchdown from Alec Ingold, but they missed a possible 2-pointer that would have given them.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they were trying to push it out to 17
Yeah.
to have that 7-point lead instead of 5, and they did not make it. Jacoby Brissett, not great. This whole team, it's hard to even mention anybody. Nobody did anything for the Patriots, and I feel bad for Gerard Mayo taking over this sad sack of guys, and 1-4, and it's probably going to get a lot worse. They host the Texans Sunday, as I mentioned earlier, and the Dolphins travel to Indy to play the Colts. Okay. The Monday nighter tonight has the Chiefs and the Saints. I don't even want to bother getting into what's happening because I want to watch it. The Chiefs are 4-0, trying to become the third team into the Mahomes era to start the season 5-0. The Saints come in 2-2. Should be a really good game. I'm hoping both these teams had pretty good starts of the year. The Saints started out first couple of games, they scored 45.5 points per game. The last 2 games, they've only scored 18 points per game. So hopefully they can get back on track. Alvin Kamara, he leads the league in touches, rushing yards, and touchdowns going into this game. He's an absolute weapon and an incredible guy. They also have Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed with Derek Carr. This team should be able to put up a ton of points. Mahomes is missing a lot of guys getting hurt. Rashid Rice actually underwent surgery today on his knee, and it looks like he will be gone for the season, unfortunately. But somehow Mahomes' magic ends up winning no matter what, whoever he has, and we'll see how it shakes out tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs somehow figure out a way to win. They'll probably do it with their defense, as they've been doing it for the last couple of games, because that's just kind of what the Chiefs do. They just kind of figure it out.
Yeah. Chiefs probably have Taylor Swift on their side tonight, so that gives them an extra 6 points or something like that.
10 points.
They've got Kareem Hunt coming in. Xavier Worthy still looking good. Pacheco's out and Rashid Rice is out, as I said. The Chiefs defense has not allowed one running back in the first 4 games to have 50 yards or more. So that's huge. I think Kamara, you probably can count on him having a bit more than that, but their defense has been really, really, really good. Derek Carr has the worst record and out of any quarterback against any team in history. 3-14 against the Chiefs. So I think my money would be on the Chiefs. We're quite far into the game, so people know probably where it stands. But let's move on. The Saints host the Bucks Sunday. Should be a great game. The Chiefs head to the 49ers. Also looks like a great game. Okay, AFC West tilt between the Broncos and the Raiders. Broncos were able to win 34-13, pushing their record to 3-2, pushing the Raiders down to 2-3. Bo Nix was able to have a pretty good game with 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams was their top rusher and top receiver. He was able to have 61 on the ground, 60 through the air. They had a franchise record 11 guys catch at least one ball, which was spreading it around. You look down the depth chart, and it's pretty shocking to see 11 different guys getting at least one catch in a game.
No. It's absolutely shocking. This is probably Bo Nix's best game that he's had as a pro thus far. He also had one touchdown rushing that he rushed in. But I thought the player of the game was definitely Patrick Surtain, 2 picks and 1 pick for a pick six.
Yeah.
Pick six.
Yeah, he was one of the biggest reasons. He had a 100-yard pick six return. Incredible. They snapped a 9-game losing streak to the Raiders. So pretty wild to see the Broncos beating the Raiders. It hasn't happened for a few years. The Raiders used both Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. I don't know what they're going to do, but they don't seem set on either guy. The catch that Bowers made for the touchdown was one of the highlights of the weekend. The guy looks like he is 7'2". He jumps up, takes the ball away from the defensive back. It looked like the DB was going to pick it off easy. Bowers goes jumping over him, grabs the ball, hauls it, runs it down for a touchdown. One of the coolest touchdowns I've seen in a long time.
No, he's a real one. He's that good, and at least now the Raiders have fantastic tight end for years to come. He's going to be that good.
Max Crosby had a couple sacks, was a beast again. You sent me an Instagram, and I couldn't really hear what he was yelling at Bo Nix. Did you hear the audio of it?
I think it was something. I don't think I can say exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of, they don't know what you're saying, they don't know what you're trying to say, or they don't know what play you're trying to run, basically, something like that.
That's funny, yeah. He was in his ear, and he was all over him all game long. It was pretty wild to see. Raiders host the Steelers Sunday late window, and the Broncos host the Chargers, who had the bye this Sunday here. Okay, AFC North. Mentioning the Steelers, they're 3-1. The Ravens are 3-2. The Bengals are 1-4, and the Browns are 1-4. This game between the Ravens and the Bengals was probably the game of the day. A great divisional tilt that just went back and forth, back and forth. Ravens finally won on a 24-yard Justin Tucker field goal after he had hit a 56-yarder in regulation time to send it into overtime. And Lamar had an absolute beast of a game. Over 400 yards. He had 348 through the air with 4 touchdowns and another 55 on the ground. Derrick Henry had another great game with 100 yards there. And fantastic game to watch, back and forth. I kind of feel bad for the Bengals because they played really good. Burrow had a great game, 5 touchdown passes, and it was an offensive tilt, but they just could not use their defense well enough to stop the Ravens attack.
Neither defense really stopped each other in this particular game. Like you said, I felt bad for the Bengals because Burrow had a fantastic game, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, and his favorite receiver, Jamar Chase, 10 receptions for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
Right. And T. Higgins, 9 receptions, 83 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. Like, both teams were absolutely fantastic. They were magical, but at the end of the day, the Ravens were able to outlast the Bengals.
Yeah. I mentioned Bowers had that touchdown. It was one of the highlights of the weekend. Also, the touchdown that Lamar Jackson threw to Isaiah Likely when he was pressured. He almost went down. He had to stiff arm the defensive lineman twice down.
Yeah.
had to run towards the sideline, threw across his body into the end zone to get the touchdown. Absolutely spectacular play, and not many guys on the planet are making that play. It was incredible to watch, and one of my favorite TDs of the day, of the year, probably.
Yeah, because everybody thought that the play was over, that he was just going to throw it out the back of the end zone. At least that's what I thought he was doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, he's almost out of bounds. Like, he's just going to throw it back of the end zone. Nothing's going to happen. Then I'm like, wait, who's he passing it to? And likely it was right there.
Yeah.
Like, it was, yeah, I guess that's why he's Action Jackson. That's why he's Lamar Jackson.
He's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's incredible to see. And as I mentioned, they're looking great. 3-2 now, coming back after a bad start to the season. Their lookout. They host the Commanders Sunday, as I mentioned. That's going to be a great game. And the Bengals go to the Giants, and that's the Sunday nighter. So I think Joe Cool and Burrow, Joe Burrow should be able to get this win over the Giants on the Sunday nighter. Okay, last game we have to cover in the league is the AFC South tilt between the Colts and the Jags, and it was another one of those back and forth battles as well. Incredible to see the Jags end up finally getting their first win, and you have to give a massive amount of credit to Trevor Lawrence. He personally stopped a 9-game losing streak with 371 yards passing and a couple touchdowns. He was not to be denied. I thought the Colts were going to win and keep the Jags winless. Jags finally get the first win, and there's no more winless teams in the NFL. This was another one of those great games. It just kept flipping back and forth, and the Jags outlasted the Colts.
Yeah, Jags just outlasted the Colts. Bigsby had a huge game with 13 carries. The running back for the Jaguars, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thomas Jr., who I think is going to be an excellent addition to that receiving core. Yeah. Excellent for the Jags. 5 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown. But it wasn't as if the Colts were bad. Joe Flacco, old man Flacco, comes in 359 yards and 3 touchdowns. Sometimes I look at the fact that Flacco's in and Richardson's out, and I don't know. It feels to me that they're better off with Flacco in than with Richardson in. Yeah. It really does. Yeah. It just seems like they're a more effective offense with him in.
I think when Richardson gets healthy, they actually are going to put him back in, but they shouldn't. I think Flacco makes this team more dynamic and better, and they looked fantastic on offense there. They just couldn't stop the Jags on D. Cam Little hit the 49-yard game-winning field goal with just 17 seconds left to give them the winning points. But yeah, Flacco should be in Cleveland. Deshaun should be sitting on his couch getting a massage, and the Browns should be able to have somebody competent under center there.
Okay, let's be honest. Deshaun's not allowed to have massages anymore. That's not a thing. So no more massage. Deshaun should just be on his couch. Period.
Yeah.
Alone. By himself.
Okay. Good one. Colts go to Titans, play in the early window, and the Jags play the Bears. And that's the London game, as I mentioned a little bit before. So, okay, that's the NFL story. We have a little bit of the UFC to cover. I know we're going long, but let's talk about the UFC card we had from Vegas. We had, it looked great on paper. This card looked really good. My dad is a faithful viewer and listener of this show, and I don't ever want to say any shade for him, but he sent me a text right after the card and said, "Great card," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm glad you loved it. That's great. Please be positive about it. I don't want to put any bad spin on a night. If you had a great night and watched it, awesome. Good for you. Really good." I kind of felt like it was a snooze fest, and it really didn't deliver like it should have, because it had a lot of great names and a lot of good matchups. But to me, it just didn't seem to deliver what I was expecting.
No, it didn't deliver. I think I texted you during the night saying that the only great thing about this card is the main event.
Yeah.
Main event was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Because Roundtree showed an incredible amount of heart, considering that monster that he tried to take on, and he incurred a lot of damage in that fight, like an incredible amount of damage. I don't know if anybody else could have lasted as long as he did with that guy hitting you as much as he did.
Oh man, you saw the aftermath. His face was just a bloody pulp. I can't believe he withstood all that. It was unreal. I couldn't believe how Poatan showed restraint, showed patience. He just waited until it seemed like once the championship rounds hit, Roundtree just got gassed. He had never fought. Maybe he had fought some 5-round fights, but not many. And Poatan always has been in these championship battles. It just looked like he waited to that 4th round, and then he finally he just went bam, bam. He'd step out, let him throw a couple of shots, then he would just boom, 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 and then step out, let him throw his punches, and then just accurately pick him apart, just systematically, methodically
broke him down
out. And it was awesome to watch. It was a masterful performance from one of the greatest fighters of all time. He was an absolute legend in the kickboxing world, winning 2 world titles, and he's an absolute legend already in UFC and an MMA world, winning 2 titles and just fighting killer after killer after killer after killer and getting another win. 3 title defenses in 7 months. He came into this fight with a lot of issues. He had a lot of troubles. He had an infection that he had to deal with antibiotics. He had visa issues that maybe he wasn't even going to be able to be there. He had a torn ligament in his toe. He had a lot of things that were ailing him going into this fight, and you couldn't tell. He just proved that he's superior. He's incredible. He's so elite that it's going to be great to look back on this guy's career because it's one of the greatest things we've ever seen.
Yeah, he just is able to compartmentalize and put things in the back of his mind and say, not important. And the only thing that's important for me right now is this fight and this human being that's in front of me that I need to systematically dismantle, which is exactly what he did to Roundtree. On the other end, I give Roundtree a lot of respect. I give him a lot of props. He hung in there. He tried to punch with the champ. I found that his counters were just falling short, but that was also due to Poatan knowing his distance management and knowing just enough to pull back so that his counters would fall short. And I thought that was the huge difference in this fight, the massive difference in this fight. And Pereira just kept stalking him, walked him down, kept beating him up until that 4th round came where, I don't know, that looked like that was like 15 shots until he finally crumpled up against the cage. And then those 2 massive body shots. And then he threatened to punch him one more time, then uppercut. And he threatened to punch him one more time. And then Goddard's like, no. And he's like, okay. Let him go. Let him go.
No, it was unreal. Wild to see. Roundtree, one of the toughest human beings to ever live. And, 99.9% of the human beings would have been out of there way before he was. You got to give him tons of props. I think his game plan was a little bit flawed. I would have been employing a leg kick a lot more on Pereira. I would have been trying to, give that kick, and he didn't deliver that. I think he kept talking all week about delivering something that he's never seen. And I don't know if he was able to bring it out. I don't know what
I don't think so.
But he never seemed to do anything to really create the damage that he needed to in this fight to try to give him that chance to win this in the end.
And also, too, I want to say this. I think it was a mistake to try to stand with that man. You stand with him in his arena, that's what's going to happen to you. I'm sorry, man. I think the path to victory against Pereira, you got to take him down, or at least threaten takedowns. And the other thing that kind of shocked me, the size difference between the 2. Khalil Roundtree is a huge human being.
Massive, yeah.
Poeton looked that much bigger,
Yeah.
that much more physically imposing. I kept looking at that going, how is he that much bigger than him?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. Like, he's a scary looking dude.
Right.
Again, and with that being said, I still don't know how he made 185 when he
No.
looks like a monster at 205. Like an absolute monster.
Yeah. He's huge, yeah. 6'4" and just massive. Yeah, he puts on a lot of weight, obviously, after weigh-in, and he is such an imposing figure. Just so brutal. He's the seventh fighter in history with 3 successful title defenses in a calendar year. And obviously, most people want to know what's next. There was talk about him now looking at Dricus du Plessis and saying, okay, I think I can take that belt, get that belt back. But when they talked to him, he actually said, no, I think I'm going to stay in this weight class. I think this suits me the best. There's a lot of people that want to talk about him moving up and facing John Jones and stuff, but I was actually glad to hear him say, no, I think I've found the weight class that suits me.
Yeah, you know what? I think he also is saying that because I think the powers that be probably talked to him, Dana White, and said, here's the thing. We're probably not going to do anything you want to do. That's what I actually think that's happened. Like, I think they said, yeah, we're probably not going to do any of that. I think you're best off just staying in your division because we're not going to give you any of those fights.
Yeah, good choice.
And then he goes, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, but that's probably likely what's on the table with him, and yeah, it looks like probably not. I started looking at who's next, and I think it will probably be the winner between Magomed Ankalaev and
Racket.
Alexander Rakic. They are fighting later this month, UFC 308, October this year in Abu Dhabi. And so, yeah, I think to me that makes the most sense. Both of them are incredible. Ankalaev has had a couple of shots at it and hasn't looked great, but I think he's learned. And yeah, he's one of those guys that might be able to employ that takedown, might be able to dominate on the ground, possibly. Might not be the guy that tries to stand up and usually lose.
Yeah, because there's another thing that these guys need to know when they fight Pereira is this. As painful as it's going to be, you got to check his leg kicks.
Yeah.
You got to check him, and you got to check him early, or else he's going to destroy your lead leg.
Yeah.
Like you could tell eventually Khalil Roundtree, his lead leg, severely compromised.
Yeah.
Couldn't really put any weight on it in the later rounds. So, yeah, you got to start checking those right away.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take much for him to actually start hurting you. Doesn't need to throw it with a lot of power. He proved that, I think, in the lead up to this fight, where Daniel Cormier is like, oh, wait, okay, go ahead. Throw your calf kick. And he threw it at 10%, and even Cormier is like, oh, what was that? What was that?
Yeah, that was a crazy video. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jacked him up big time. Yeah. So
no.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely. Salt Lake City, this is the 3rd year in a row they've been here. They've had a lot of really good moments. But they need to get better judges. I don't know if they traveled or they were some local guys, but holy crap, the judging was so bad and ridiculous on this card. It was frustrating as hell. Way too many split decisions, bad calls, bad judging, horrible. One of the referees we'll talk about in a few minutes, terrible ref, should never be refereeing MMA. He's a boxing ref. You can tell just the way he acts. He is not an MMA ref. So luckily he only did one fight and was done. But yeah, it's tough when they go to places where they're not often. Once a year isn't enough to have the top level guys that they need. The crazy thing about Salt Lake, though, is they just announced that they will be the host of the 2034 Olympics and Paralympics. So congratulations there. It's so great that they're getting the games again and getting to be on display in the world. And it's nice that it's on North American soil again on this side of the world too.
Yeah, no, that's great for Utah. That's great for the city. It's great. I although I don't know how it's going to be for the athletes. Nightlife there in Utah. Oh, gross. Anyways, so yeah, but congratulations to the city once again.
Okay, good one. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, they did have a gate of 5 million. That was the second best gate all time in the arena's history. UFC has 1, 2, 3 now, and it was a sold sellout with 17,747. Not very many of those 17,747 paid to see the co-main event. I
Oh,
sure wouldn't have. If it was up to
oh,
me, I would have declined. Um, as I mentioned before, that I think Raquel Pennington is the worst champion currently in the UFC. Just so many reasons why. And one thing that happened in this fight made me realize why I dislike her so much. She got the first knockdown of her UFC career in her 19th appearance in this fight. One knockdown in 19 appearances. She has only one knockout in her entire entire MMA career, and it's in her first fight on the regional circuit. Never had a KO, and it was by knees to the body. It wasn't punches to the head or taking somebody out. Knees to the body. That's how she got it. 26 fights altogether with zero KOs, and oh my god, just so frustrating. These two both, yeah, they don't really, to me, look like champions of the UFC. The women's division, it looks kind of watered down now. Something's wrong. I don't see these as elite fighters, and um, Pena looked rusty, 2 year layoff, and she had that one glorious moment against Amanda Nunes. I still say the Amanda Nunes threw that fight, and I probably will say that to the day I die, because she doesn't, to me, look like championship caliber. That deserves to have a belt in the UFC. And both these fighters, I just really didn't like. I don't like seeing them fight, and I didn't really enjoy this fight at all.
I know. I knew I was going to enjoy this fight. Like I was watching it going, it'd be great if this didn't go 5 rounds. That's what was going on in my head. But also knowing, oh man, it's definitely going 5 rounds with these two.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the capacity to take each other out.
No.
They just don't. That's not what they do. So this is what I will say though. I can't believe I'm saying it. I don't believe Pennington actually should have lost her belt though.
Yeah.
I think she actually won that fight,
right.
Especially in the 5th round when she was coming on. I thought it was 2-2. Whoever was going to win that 5th round should have won the fight.
Yep.
And I thought Pennington definitely won the 5th round.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I was just like, oh man, she shouldn't have lost her belt. But at the same time, you know what my brain actually said? Actually, I don't care.
Yeah.
I
thought Pennington was going to get a hand raised because I thought it was 2-2 going into the 5th, and she won the 5th clearly. But I'm happy that she doesn't have the belt anymore because she doesn't really deserve it. Like she doesn't represent what the UFC wants. The UFC pays these 50K bonuses for people that try to win fights convincingly and get stoppages. And she doesn't have that capability. She doesn't make that attempt. She doesn't go out for these, convincing wins. She tries to grind out victories and get them by decision. And that's no fun. It's not a representative of what the UFC wants to see and what I want to see. And most mixed martial arts fans of the UFC really want to see. She doesn't bring, my attention up at all.
No. And I think both of them don't, by the way.
No.
And also too, Pena is just like she's just a loudmouth. That's how she's trying to bring attention to herself, right? But it's just by talking and doing her ridiculous call out for a person that's retired. Yeah, we need to run that back. It's like, no, man, no, actually we don't. Nunes is fine. She's great with her retirement. She's great with her family. You're the one that's trying to hang on to. I don't know what you're trying to hang on to. Nobody does. Yeah, sometimes within a division, you can have a lull once a dominant figure leaves, like a dominant champion, whether they leave like through retirement as Nunes did or whatever else, right? Because if Nunes was still the champion, well, we don't have to deal with this shit. Right. This is not, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I'm actually excited and I can't wait to see. Because, okay, so Pena did her stupid call out. Cool, that's not happening. But I do know what is going to happen, Miss Pena. So you're going to be fighting Miss Harrison.
Harrison,
and that happens. That's happening.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that to happen because I think we all know what the outcome of that is going to be. You're going to lose. Yeah. And then that's a real champion.
Yeah.
Real champion.
I was disappointed with Kayla Harrison's performance on this card. She fought the number 2 ranked Ketlin Vieira, but she was hospitalized the week of the fight for peeing blood, and something was seriously wrong. She didn't bring out that excuse before the fight. She did just mention it, I believe, today, and she also said that something was seriously wrong with her in the second round. She just seemed like she didn't have it. And this is the first fighter on this card that mentioned it, but the altitude she thinks might have played a factor in it. We do talk about the altitude quite often in fights here in high altitude places. And yeah, she did not look like herself to me. I've never seen a performance that poor from Kayla Harrison. She was able to get some of the takedowns, but just wasn't dominant and didn't go for the finish really in any case. While she had top position, and yeah, I didn't love her. Didn't love it. If she can still make this weight healthy enough, I don't know if cutting the weight was one of the reasons why. She ended up hospitalized again, and she's just such a massive human being that I just don't think that it might be healthy for her to keep fighting at this weight class.
Yeah, let's get into it. First off, I've never agreed with it. I don't think this is too much of an ask for her to get down to that weight, to this weight category, because I believe even when she was at her best doing the judo competitions, I think she was fighting at 170.
Yeah.
That's 35 pounds more than where she's fighting right now. Yeah. All right. I don't agree. Like, I think this is not a good weight class for her. And I think it's very, very, very detrimental to her health. Yeah. All right. I'm going to say that. Secondly, Vieira fought as defensive gets.
Sure.
She wasn't really willing to do anything.
Engage, yeah.
So it's really hard to look good against somebody that's in a constant shell the entire fight.
Right.
So I'm going to give Kayla that as well. Yeah. I don't know, though, going forward, if she does get the belt and she does fight and she does win, and I hope she does, I don't know how much longer she can fight at this weight division, because I honestly believe it is not healthy for her to continue to keep doing this, for her to continue to keep putting her body through this. Because when you see her go in there, I'll tell you this much, she ain't fucking 135 when she steps into that damn octagon. She's more like 155, 160.
Yeah.
She's huge. She's massive.
Massive, yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's tough. And I don't think it's going to be able to last long. She might be able to do it another 1 or 2 times, but yeah, I think it's too risky health-wise, and it can't be sustained at a size that she is. So we'll see how it plans out. I do see Juliana Pena fighting her. I don't think Amanda's coming back, and so I think that's what we're going to see next. The fight that happened right before that co-main event was Jose Aldo and Mario Batista. Hated this fight myself, just hated it. I just don't think Batista even deserved the win, because he just
punched him up against the cage.
Just grounded him up against the cage the whole time. He didn't want to. It was boring. It was crappy. to me, like, why do you deserve a win when you're just grinding somebody up against the cage? Like, how, to me, could that be construed as winning a fight? He got all his takedowns stuffed, and he just wasn't effective in any way. So why does he deserve to win? It was ridiculous. It was dumb. I hated the fight completely throughout.
Yeah, he made the comment post fight of, well, it's his job to get her off the cage, right? I was like, well, yes, his and the refs that were trying to break you up and constantly all the time. What did you do? As soon as he broke you up, throw him right back into
Back
the cage
down,
again.
yeah. Yeah.
And so, yes, to a certain respect, yes, it is. But I'm now okay with the refs jumping in there saying, you know what? This is a stalling action.
Yeah.
This is a stalling tactic. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the fighters use it as a stalling tactic. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of now happy because of this fight that the refs are more apt to jump in and say, break it up, start again in the middle. Like I want to see more of that now.
I mean,
because
like, you have to be, I think you have to be, smart enough to know if it's a stalling tactic or it's just,
or they're doing work. They're doing real work
to get control, to get a takedown. This one, there was no show that it was to try to get a takedown,
because he couldn't do it anyway.
Earlier on this card where they separated them, where they shouldn't have, but this one, he should have come in. He should have been that boxing guy. Separate him, let him go back at it, and once they hold again, separate him, let go back at it. And it was rough. I did not enjoy it, and I feel bad for Aldo.
Because I thought, to be honest with you, I thought Aldo won this fight because of all that nonsense. I would have given the fight to Aldo. So.
Sure. Yeah, it was a split decision. I don't know why two judges saw it for Batista, because he didn't do shit, and didn't deserve it because he didn't fight. So unfortunate ending in the Roman Dolidze Kevin Holland fight. Dolidze was definitely in a dominant position for the entire round. When the rib either popped or broke. Unfortunate for Holland. He wanted to fight, but his corner ended up saying to the doctor and the ref, no, let's call it off. And unfortunately, a tough way to end, but Dolidze was dominating this fight at the time.
Yeah, he was. He was definitely dominating the ground game. And then on that weird scramble where you could see him just yell out in pain, and I'm just like, oh man, because like that actually had the potential to be extremely entertaining fight, but we didn't get a chance to see it because unfortunately Holland got injured. So
Dolidze made the call out for the winner between Khamzat Chimaev and Robert Whitaker. Could be pretty awesome to see those. And we'll see how it works out. We've already mentioned the Caitlin Vieira, Kayla Harrison fight. We will see Harrison, I'm sure, in that title fight. The Wonder Boy Thompson, Joaquin Buckley fight. Amazingly incredible KO victory for Buckley. I haven't seen a kind of a jumping, leaping Superman type of punch take a guy out so severely like that in a while. Somebody, I think, mentioned Mike Tyson. That's what I always remember from Tyson, just being able to squat really low, use his legs, and just get that power through his legs into those shots. Buckley's already a short guy, super compact, incredible. Really, really nice, spectacular KO victory for him there.
Yeah, because he likes to leap in with his shots, and he had to leap in a lot to try to find Thompson, who is one of the most evasive fighters in the UFC, and he still had a hard time doing it. I believe on that particular shot, he still got lucky. He's still not lucky. Thompson could have slipped that punch, and then they're still going, but he got lucky on that. He managed to connect, but it was full power, Tyson hook, leaping in, and once it connected, well, you saw what the result of that was. It was immediate crumple, and then the fight was over. So it was a great fight up to that point. I thought Thompson was countering really well, but with Buckley, his power doesn't fade. His power never fades over the rounds. It's always there. He's always dangerous. And great win by Buckley against a very, 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 very tough opponent.
Yeah. And I love this call out to Kamaru Usman, who's lost 3 in a row. I think makes a lot of sense to me. Kamaru's fought, top level competition. He needs a win. Buckley, I don't think is elite yet in this division. I think it's a smart call out, and I think Kamaru accepts.
Yeah, I think so too. I think considering where they both are in their UFC past, I think it's the correct call out. Very smart on Buckley's part.
Okay. We need to get going. So do you want to mention anything about the Marina Rodriguez Yasmin Lucindo fight? Anything?
I will mention this. I thought Lucindo fought a brilliant fight against a very, very hard, tough fighter in Rodriguez. Took her down when she needed to. I thought she put together her combos really well because it was usually pretty close on the feet, but she was always busy with her strikes. Always struck back when Rodriguez struck her, but took down timely takedowns when she needed to.
Yeah. I loved when Mark Goddard stopped the fight, made the translator come up, explained to her that you can't put your chin in her eye socket. That was pretty cool. You didn't see women fight dirty like that, but she was, and good for Goddard to get in there. This ended up being a split decision as well, and I didn't think it should have been, but this was a vet against the prospect. Rodriguez had been fighting forever. Lucindo's coming up, and I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Only 22 years old and already fighting this elite level competition. It's pretty impressive to me. The Cesar Almeida Ihor Pretoria fight was absolutely horrible, just ridiculous, just so shockingly bad. There was
how many eye pokes?
5 eye pokes, was it?
5, 6.
Yeah,
it was
just
like
brutal.
Like after a while, you have to take you gotta take a point. You gotta take a point.
How can he not have lost a point or two out of this? Just over and over and over and over. I don't think the ref saw it because he wasn't looking in the right spot every time. And I don't know what the hell he was doing in there.
I don't know what he's looking at.
This guy is a ref I don't have any familiarity with, Tyler Tomlinson.
Don't worry, you won't see him again.
So. No, he just did not handle this properly at all. It was just horrible. I thought it was I thought it was just a terribly reffed fight. I thought it was a terribly judged fight, and it to me was just something that is a black mark really on the sport, on the card. It just was just I was just stunned to get that many eye pokes and to not have points taken away, and for Hernandez to end up getting this win here. Stunning to me, just brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. And like you said, Almeida did get the win, and Potiera just like, I took like 6 eye pokes. 6.
Yeah.
And he gets the win. Awesome. What a great fight. Oh man. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh man, it was brutal. There was eye gouging 6 times on the one side, 1 time on the other, and no points taken away. And oh my god. Yeah, you gotta feel sorry for it. Holy cow. Okay. Ryan Spann. Oh yeah, you said you didn't see any of the.
I didn't see any of the early prelims.
Ryan Spann had a really nice submission victory over Ovince St. Preux. He just landed a huge shot. OSP was sent reeling. OSP went in for a takedown. A guillotine choke was immediately sunk in and forced OSP to tap. Only a 135 in. That was his 10th guillotine choke win of his career. He's super tough. 16th first round finish. And he said he's calling it a new name for this choke. It's called the Super Manatee choke. So he's hoping that takes off and everybody talks about that going forward. The women's strawweight fight between Tisha Pennington and Carla Esparza. A good battle against 2 game girls. As far as the last fight of her mixed martial arts career, they did a really, really nice video tribute to her, showed all her career highlights, and I thought it was a very touching moment. Very, very nice of the UFC to make this acknowledgement of the two-time champion, first-time champion ever in this weight class for women, and a girl that was able to fight and battle her way and win the title again. Pretty impressive. Tisha, her wife, was fighting on the co-main card, so she had her distractions, but was able to get a decision win. Good fight. I really enjoyed it as a whole. Actually, one of the fights of the night to me.
All right, well, that's good. I'm glad that Carla got sent off properly. Especially, you have to pay the respects for the first person to be the champion of that division, which is what she was, and the fact that she won the belt again. So I wish her the best of luck. I don't know what she's going to get into, but I'm sure whatever she has planned for herself is going to be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. Yeah. Tisha looked like a pit bull beyond belief, just jacked beyond belief. Carla did not. And I was watching it with Lorraine's mom and dad briefly, and her mom made comment on Carla saying, "Holy cow, like she doesn't have any muscle on her body. What the hell?" And she made mention of it that after she had her child, she was not able to put on muscle anymore. And this is one of the reasons why she felt like she has to move forward in her career and choose something else. She said since her kid has been nursing and, really, yeah, she, being the mom, she just said, I couldn't put on any muscle anymore. And, it was hard to compete.
Okay, well, I guess like the body's being drained by the child and stuff like that, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks because that's what necessitated her from stepping away. But you know what? It was going to have to come at some point in time. So it is what it is.
That's it. Yeah. Court McGee started off the fight, a fight card with a really great submission, rear naked choke win, forced the tap. He is a Utah homeboy, so the crowd went absolutely ballistic. There was actually a big crowd in there early on for the early prelims, which usually doesn't happen. But they wanted to be there, I think, for their Utah guy, and nice to see. This was a 40-year-old against a 39-year-old, two old vets. Great battle. I wish it lasted longer, but Court was able to get the takedown, get his back, sink in the submission. It wasn't actually a rear naked choke in the end. I think it was a neck crank, but his choke was really severely in there, and Means just had to tap.
Yeah, well, you know what? Court has some crushing power.
He's the crusher.
That's why he's called the crusher.
Yeah.
So yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay, next week we've got UFC Fight Night, Vegas. We've got the main event with Brandon Royval and Tatsuya Taira. Royval, former title championship guy that's fought for the title, fighting an undefeated fighter in Tatsuya Taira. This should be a great fight. Really looking forward to this battle. It's number 1 against number 5, and we'll see. Who ends up superior in this one. I think it's a really great main event.
I think it's a great matchup. Great call by the UFC to match these two up. Great main event. I expect a lot of action, a lot of up and down action. This fight will happen on all levels, all the time. It's going to be action-packed.
Tyra has a really cool record, and I think it still stands. I saw it posted earlier yesterday. He is the first and only fighter born in the 2000s to fight in a main event and get a victory.
Wait, what? Say that again?
He's the first and only fighter that's born in the 2000s, last 24 years, to be in a main event and get a victory.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I guess that's where we're at right now. Okay. And because in also too, he's just that young. That's impressive.
That's pretty neat, eh? That's a pretty wild record to have, yeah. Royval won his last fight, was able to avenge a loss against Brandon Moreno that he had in his UFC career before. Really nice victory. Brandon Moreno, former champ. Um, he's 6-3 in the UFC, 2 losses to Pantoja, 1 to Moreno. So he has fought elite level competition for many, many, many years here. Tyra 6-0 in the UFC, but his competition has not been quite like Roy Val's. But his last fight was over Alex Perez, number 6 in the division. Perez blew out his knee in that fight, if you remember, though. So it wasn't, a convincing KO win. It was just a win because Perez could not continue.
Yeah. So again, this will be an ultimate test for Tyra to see if he's ready for this level of competition that Roy Val is going to give to him.
Out of his 16 wins, he's got 5 KOs and 7 subs, so he does make a lot of finishes in this one too. The fight between Brad Tavares and the Iron Turtle, Park Jun Yong. I don't know. I don't think I'm super jacked for it. Tavares has had like a very, very up and down career. He's lost 3 of his last 4 coming in. He has fought, the top of the top, but he's just, like I said, up and down, up and down. He lost his last fight to RoboCop, got knocked out early on. The Iron Turtle also lost. KO lost one of his last losses was to RoboCop too. He's been on he lost his last fight to Andre Muniz. He was on a 4-fight win streak before that, but was pretty inconsistent before that. So not really sure why this is the co-main event. Maybe, both guys will bring it, but they're not elite in my mind.
No, they're the middle of the road kind of guys. That's the way that I look at this. I think they're the co-main event because they're the bigger men on this main card.
Right.
That's why they're the co-main event. I think the fight below them, that should have probably been the co-main event.
Definitely.
Grant Dawson, the Rafa Garcia, that's going to be a bang. That's going to be a great fight.
That's what I was going to say. Dawson, 21-2 in his career, 13 submissions, only lost once in his last 14, and that was to Bobby Green, who's really super tough. His last fight was in June, beating Joe Selecki. He has the only thing that I can say negative about Grant Dawson as he's missed weight 2 times and had to have a catch weight on a couple fights because he was going to miss weight. He's not really supposed to be fighting in this division anymore, so we'll see. But we'll see if he can make weight on this one. His opponent, Rafa Garcia, 15-3, 2-fight win streak. Last beat Clay Guida in April. He has won 4 of his last 5. The Mexican is super, super, super tough, and I do look forward to seeing these 2 guys. I think this should have been main event, maybe co-main, but these guys maybe good chance of winning fight of the night.
I think so. I think this has an excellent chance of winning fight of the night. I think this will probably be the best fight on the main card.
Yeah. D-Rod lost his last 4 fights fighting the great white Alex Morono. Not too great to see a guy coming in losing his last 4. He needs a win super bad. He is tough as nails, but definitely usually tires and gets rocked near the end of fights and has taken a lot of losses lately.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of losses lately, but I think this could be still a very entertaining fight between himself and Alex Morono. They both like to come forward. They both like to bang.
I love Abdul Razak Hassan, Al Hassan, great fighter, man. He always brings it. That'll be great to kick off the main card. Chidi Njokuani and Jared Gordon could be a great fight. And Nico Price, Tembo Garimbo, that's the guy that's favorite of The Rock there. Love that guy's story and always cheering for him. Going forward, the heavyweight battle between Chris Barnett and Junior Toffa should be good. That was supposed to be Salsa Boy, Waldo Cortez Acosta. He had to withdraw, and so Junior Toffa's coming in. late replacement to help this fight go forward.
You know what? Great fights, great card. I think it's just going to be a really nice one to watch. And it starts a little bit earlier, so it'll be over earlier as well.
That's true. Yeah, prelims 1 o'clock Pacific, main card 4 o'clock Pacific. So good point. I'm glad you made that announcement. So yeah, man, I know it was long, but appreciate everything you brought. This was a fun sport podcast, and we covered it all. You are now up to date in the world of sports.
Yes, yes, we are. Always a pleasure. Always my pleasure to be on. And you have yourself a good evening.
Thanks,
and
buddy.
we shall talk later. Enjoy the game.
Okay, man. Enjoy the game too. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Okay, that was great as always. Thanks for sticking in. I know it was long, people, but yeah, we had a lot to cover. And thanks so much for your patience and your time. As always, appreciated. Want to say thanks to our partners and sponsors. Just want to say a good thank you to Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. I want to thank Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. Pampas and Possibilities, the designers of West Coast beautiful things for your home. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. Thanks again. And we will talk soon. Love you guys lots. Appreciate the support. And we'll talk to you in a week's time. Take care and bye for now.